Okay, so we're live. All right, so thank you so much, guys, for coming on. This is the Musty Wargamers. You may have seen or heard of them and their excellent live streams or personal channels. But we have Hell Corrects, aka Punisher. That's Rsty. How you going, mate?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Thanks very much for joining us. I hope you got a nice whiskey on hand to.
I just bought a small bottle with me tonight. Should get me through the show.
It's gonna be a short show. It looks like.
And we've got Palmer, aka Rsty, from his channel. How you going, Palmer?
Doing great, thank you.
Good to have you here, mate. All the way from, is it Canada you're from, isn't it, mate?
Yes. I'm in Alberta, in Calgary.
The guy that's providing us all that wonderful smoke down here.
This is correct.
Yeah, thanks, man.
We try.
And we also have Farmer Dan. That's Dan Buman, our second ever guest on the Crown of Command podcast. We just talked about that 5 years ago in May. I first met Dan to talk all about Bretonians and all about your history and wargaming, mate. So it's wonderful to make this connection again, mate, to see you again and talk to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Mate, my pleasure. So unfortunately, Tim couldn't join us. He's like the fourth wheel of the Musty Wargamers, but unfortunately, due to family matters, he wasn't able to attend tonight. So I hope he enjoys the restream of this later on, as well as other Musty Wargamer viewers, because it is a live stream that happens usually every 2 weeks on either Rusty's or Palmer's channels. And I'll put some links. There should be links here in the video description, so you can go check those out and subscribe and check out their content. And subscribe to and get notified to know when the next show's on. But I know some of the guys that follow the Crown of Command do go and watch your show, like Cody, GM Cody, my good friend in Tennessee, and Matt, I think, as well. I think Matt watches it as well, but a few of the guys know about you guys. Mm-hmm. And I know you've related from your channels, or they know Dan because of his channel that he had. Well, he used to produce content for Bold Action and for 5th edition, and of course Rsty does a lot of Battletech stuff. And Palmer, you do a bit of a mix of everything. You do historical fantasy, a lot of old world now. Yeah. So it's quite surreal because now I'm hosting your show essentially. Yeah. That'll be always the opposite way. Like, you know, I'm always watching you guys over a beer and a burger, and now it's the other way around. So
yeah, we're all kind of just a little bit 7 out of 10 right now. We're kind of straightened up, really focused. Like typically, you know, we've got like no pants on, like, you know, and, but right now it's like we're on somebody else's show here. See what we got to do.
Like I should have wore a tie.
Oh, come on now. That would be weird, wouldn't it?
But I was saying, you know, do you have any is there like any sort of formal questions, or is there like a show sort of itinerary or agenda for today? There's absolutely nothing. It's really just a, you know, get together, have a chat. Let's make the conversation organic, and guys in the chat can ask questions, and we can answer them as best we can, or just let the conversation flow and let the hobby progress. So what we might do first is just go around. I want to introduce everybody because for those people who watch this in a restream, because I don't think many people will be joining us today given the time, but maybe just talk about yourselves and stuff you're working on. So we might start with Rsty over there. I'll put you on solo layout, mate. Put you on the center screen. So tell us all about yourself, mate.
Oh, yes. Here in Des Moines, Iowa. Not Des Moines, Iowa, but right in the middle of the country. Almost right in the middle. Dan and I live in the same state. We're neighbors in the grand scheme of things. What, an hour and a half away?
Yep.
So we meet up with every once in a while. I've been playing games for, since the 70s. I'm 60 years old, so I'm just a kid, though.
Still a youngin', mate.
Yeah. It's my favorite saying, grow up, what a waste of a good time.
Yeah. You're right, mate.
Well, I've been playing I started playing Battletech. That was back in 86 or 87, somewhere in there. You know, it's been since it started. And then that was my first love of miniature wargaming. And then I got into Warhammer Epic scale, 40K Epic, just to the fact that I needed some miniatures to go with infantry and stuff to go with my Battletech stuff. And so it just kind of like got into Warhammer. So I ran into started playing Warhammers. Like tonight, I'm going to be painting up some. Here's a finished Bull Centaur. This is my Forge Bull Centaur.
Yeah.
I have 9 of those little guys I have finished up just the other day. I don't think I put them on a channel yet. So the channel is right there. It says Hellcrix26. That's the name of my channel, which is named after my daughter gave me the name of the channel. We're both Lord of the Rings fans, and that's the grinding ice where the elves crossed over chasing after Melkor after the Silmarils were stole by that nasty god. So that's why my channel's named that way.
I never knew that, actually. Huh.
Yeah, my daughter and she was the one that got me into YouTube way back in the day. Yeah, because she had a book vlog. She had a channel dedicated to reviewing books. So she got me into it.
Interesting.
So yeah, I've been big into all kinds of games. I've been playing. I had a massive collection of Napoleonics. Used to play that all the time. American Civil War, which I got Dan into it. So we got some little guys.
Yep.
And over on the table right here, there's a massive stack of blisters that need to be worked on, cleaned up, and then based. So I have to work on those. That's the next big project. I'll probably be doing that during the fair. So I won't be painting anything. I'll just be numbing, doing stuff. So let's see what else. Big into World War II. I got a lot of bolt action stuff, armies. I was in the army, so how do you do this right there? That was my unit right there. I was a cavalry officer for quite a few years and did that, retired out of that. I'm big into board games. I got a large collection of board games. Dan's a big board gamer too.
Mm-hmm.
I used to play Avalon Hill games all the time.
Yep.
Now it's GMT and Compass games. Those are 2 big ones now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. For Warhammer, I got massive collections. I used to have every army in 40K, but I've sold some of them off, so I've kind of downsized. And I got rid of like my Tau and that nature. But in the cabinets back there, you can see I got a plate cabinets. It's like right there is my Knights. There's some Eldar. And then I have a large collection of different Warhammer Fantasy armies. And if you're going to play Warhammer Fantasy, you got to have like 5,000 to 7,000 worth of points just to make sure you got enough. You got to have choices, right?
Got to have choices, yes.
A lot of choices, that's for sure.
It's like last September, we had our big game here.
That was fun.
That was fun. Yeah, we played Bretonians versus Chaos. Beastmen,
Beastmen, yeah.
And then we had that second game that between Palmer and I, we had the Tomb Kings versus his Beastmen. And it's amazing that Tomb Kings actually won that due to the fact that there was lots and lots of bow fire.
Yes.
It's like, how many you got? Let's see, about 1,000 points worth of skeleton archers. Pincushion.
Yeah, we did an in-person Musty show in Iowa. I drove out from Canada down.
Yeah, that's right.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was
good.
good.
Fun.
Yeah, so that's pretty much. Anything else you want to know?
I just spotted a lovely box of Renegades behind you there, Rsty.
Oh yeah, 40K Epic right there.
That's it.
Yeah, I was working on organizing some Eldar. I have a massive army of Epic Eldar. I've never got around to painting.
Yeah.
And I was organizing them and squaring them away and see what I needed to do. And it's like, okay, I have a bunch of stuff I'll probably never get around to. So like I got a box of like 5 sprues of Eldar that I decided I'm not going to ever get to. So I put those up on eBay. But the rest I'm going to base them, put them on. I got some. Take the little craft and I'm going to put them on beads. So they're kind of like elevated. Put them on little bases and stuff. So
Cool.
So they look kind of really nice. That's the plan with those. But I still have to finish off this last bit of. I got 4 more Bull Centaurs I got to finish up. This is the command guys I want to do. I 3D printed those because, Forge World did not produce a command section for their Bull Centaurs, so I had to find a source for them.
They look huge. They look absolutely massive, those models.
Yeah, it's like, here we go. Here's an AC, American War of Independence Queen's Ranger.
Yeah.
28 mil. Yeah.
28 mil. And that will show you the size of a Bull Centaur.
And that's a Forge World one, is it?
Yes, this is the Forge World one. They're big.
Yeah.
They're on 50 by 75 bases. So.
Okay.
So when you think about it in terms, like Palmer had a whole bunch of, what's your...
Dragon Ogres.
Dragon Ogres. Those things were tough. It was hard taking those things down, but basically...
But I did.
Well, it's like all I needed was 5s to hit you and 6s to wound, and you throw out 100 arrows, something's gonna stick, literally.
Yeah. So if you had to be an animal, Rsty, which would it be? Well, we'll have to do one standard question that everybody got to answer.
If I was gonna be an animal,
Yeah, which would it be?
a wolf, white wolf.
Yeah, that came out quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to think on that.
That's my Patronus is a white wolf.
Really?
You like to have a pack around you.
I literally did.
A dire wolf. You'd be like a dire wolf.
Yeah, dire wolf would be good.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up in northern Minnesota, so we had wolves all the time running
Timber
around.
wolves.
Timber wolves everywhere. Those things are huge. It's like people don't realize how big a timber wolf is.
I have no idea.
You know how big your truck is, right?
My truck?
But,
I got a 3/4 ton diesel. I don't know.
The nose we had Timberwolf is in the back of our truck because it got and the nose was touching the back of the bed and its tail was on the ground.
Oh wow.
And that was a full-size pickup.
Huh.
In the bed.
Must have been a 2-wheel drive.
No,
Yeah.
it was an
That's scary.
F-150 Ranger.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah,
Crazy.
they're big.
Yeah.
They got long legs. But yes, there you go. I'm a wolf.
All right. Okay.
Okay. All right, we'll go down to Dan, mate. Dan, you want to tell us all about yourself and what you're into at the moment and that kind of thing, mate?
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah. Well, some people probably know a little bit from the Musty Wargamers show and then my channel, which has not been active. Unfortunately, I don't know. It's probably coming up on 3 years since I've posted anything. I guess I'll start just quickly at the beginning. I'm from Western Iowa, which is the same state that Rusty's from, center of the United States. I grew up on a farm, so very rural where I'm at, which since I'm 56, that puts me kind of growing up in the 70s. And it was one of those things where you could never find out about games or like I didn't even know about Games Workshop until I was about college age. Just because there no hobby shops, there's no internet. How do you find out about that stuff? I my mom got us into Dungeons and Dragons when I was in about fifth grade, I believe. And that same Christmas, she got me, this was out of the J.C. Penney catalog, but it was Heritage Miniatures, had these 2 boxed games that were, one was Crypt of the Sorcerer and one was Caverns of Doom. And it came with this paper map of a dungeon and these 28 millimeter miniatures, which I still have some right here. And then it came with these little paints in those little plastic pots that just flip the lid, you know, and they'd dry out after a while. And the miniatures by today's standards were extremely crude. But she got me those the same Christmas. And I remember just, it blew my mind. I was like, no idea there was such a thing as that. And so she played with this, and my brother that was a year older than me was the dungeon master. And I remember playing Keep on the Borderlands. That was our first scenario, and my 2 sisters would play, and my mom would play. So that was kind of my introduction to that. And I remember in the back, like appendix of that. And what I had was we had the basic set, that what I'd call the pink box. And it had that, had a couple Dungeon Explorers down in. There's this dragon on the front. The edges of the box were pink, but it had an appendix, and it had like, you know, if you're interested in this stuff, these are things to read, like Ursula Le Guin, Tolkien, you know, Frank Baum, and I was like, wow. So I literally, that was my introduction to Lord of the Rings then, because I went into the middle school, because I remember I must have been 6th grade, because I went into the middle school library then after Christmas break and found Tolkien, and I didn't know it was a trilogy. I mean, I knew there were 3 books, but I thought there were just 3 books. So I got, the one they had in was book 3, Return of the King. So I started there. But I remember just being blown away by that. It just opened all these doors. So then I started finding out about that. And then I painted up those miniatures, which I think right here. This is the very first miniature that I ever painted, which came in that set. It's a little, halfling with a bow. And I've never touched him up or anything. That's what he was with the paints that came in the thing. And I just loved that. And so then I started, my mom let me get a subscription to Dragon magazine. And so that would come in the mail. And there were always all the ads for the different miniatures manufacturers and stuff. And so I remember sending away, you'd send a self-addressed stamp envelope and to like RFM and Grenadier and Raul Partha. Those were the ones I remember in particular. And they'd send you a catalog, and she'd let me order some figures, and you'd send your money, and you wait another month for the miniatures to come, or 6 weeks or whatever, and ordered some polyester paints is what I remember the first paints I used, and oil-based. And so, and about that same time too, I was also into building model kits, World War II planes and tanks and ships and cars and whatever. But so it's kind of all that was kind of forming, you know, it's like as I discovered these things, because you could buy those model kits locally, like just even in the grocery store would have like this little shelf that had that by the magazines back in those days. And so that was kind of my introduction to that kind of, and learned how much I loved that. So the books expanded my horizons. The Dungeons and Dragons really brought me into the, you know, the fantasy thing, because there weren't even movies about that stuff back then. So that's how you'd find out about it, you know. And but so then kind of that was kind of my life until then going to college. Then of course I got into a bigger town or a city, and you start learning the other stuff that's out there and going to hobby shops. And I guess the other thing, my older brother was really into Avalon Hill board games then, so we played Squad Leader and Blitzkrieg and Rick Toven's War and all those games, and then SPI was a game company back then that we knew. And anyway, so I always loved board games and hex and counter games, and we played any, you know, fantasy or whatever adventure games. And So that was always with me too. But then when I got to college, you could find out about stuff by going to stores, and it's like, wow, okay. Then I found out about Games Workshop, and but then kind of got into the 90s is when that's about when the early 90s when I got married and started having kids. So that was about when the whole world had opened up, and I was like, I remember right when we got married, I'd started painting some miniatures, and I was gonna start building an army, and I'd looked at Raw Partha had Battlestorm was their games, their fantasy battle system. And so I loved their miniatures, and they were, they were available in the States and easy to order and cheap. And so I was starting to build an army for that. And then kids came, money ran out, and, things get busy. Life happens, everybody kind of seems to go through that. And so, so then, kind of that all just got kind of shoved into the basement while I just did all that and got the farm going. Because if people don't know, I farm. That is my career and eats up most of my time. But then as the kids then got older and started graduating from high school and time started to open up a little more, that's when I started pulling out this stuff. And it was funny because that would have been about 11, 12, probably right in there. And I remember starting to look online and like, I'd like to get back into fantasy, because in the 90s, before kids were getting really busy for me, I'd found out about hobby shops. So I'd go to the hobby shops down in Omaha, which is an hour and 20 minutes away. And they had these Bretonians, which I was always into the medieval stuff and the fantasy stuff. And I loved the 5th edition Bretonians. And about that time, so it would have been like 98, 99, the 6th edition was getting ready to be released. But I remember finding a used but unopened 5th edition box set online. I think it was eBay, and I think it was the very first thing that I ever bid on eBay and got it. And I didn't even know how that worked. And it came and had all the Bretonians. And I remember I painted 2 of the knights, 3 of the bowmen. And then, that was kind of the end of my painting then. But and then when the kids got and work got crazy, so then it got shoved away for a good 10 years then. So somewhere around 2012, 13 in there is when I started looking online. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get into fantasy, and it's about, I don't remember the exact year, but somewhere in there is when they killed fantasy, and I was like, gosh dang it, can you believe that? And so I was like,
time to get back into it.
Yeah, just when I was ready to go, because I bought a few pieces here and there, and I was just gonna, just kind of exploring what was out there. So that kind of bummed me out, and I was like, so I've always had a huge interest in World War II. When I was a kid, which Josh knows, my mom bought us all these little, what are they, like 32 millimeter plastic army men, the ones you see in all the dollar stores. And we had all those, and we'd go outside in the sand pits and out in the dirt, and we'd dig trenches and build fortifications with sticks and stuff. And we had rules and ways we would play. So basically we were kind of miniature gaming outside, but we didn't even know there was such a thing back then. But so I always was interested in World War II, and through the internet I stumbled on Bolt Action, and that ended up being the first army. So that would have been about 14, somewhere in there was the first army I actually painted with and played. That was my very first real miniature game that I ever played, and then ever since then I've just been hooked on it. So then I've got a friend locally that plays Bolt Action, and we get together, which was funny. I met him on the internet on YouTube. I started watching a lot of YouTube, both for board gaming and for miniature gaming. And
Smitty.
Smitty. He lives literally 20 or 22 minutes from my door, and he had a channel, and he was talking. And it was funny. It's funny how that is. I just stumbled across his channel. It was Bolt Action and whatever. And then I noticed one time he was wearing a shirt that said like Hawkeyes, or which is our state. And so I was thinking, oh, man, he must be somewhere sort of local, and it was like literally down the road, So Yeah, I remember the first time I drove down to his house. He has a gaming table and stuff, and taking my guys and just met him for the first time, and we had a game, and we really hit it off. So we've played tons and tons of games over the years since then, and gone to some tournaments together, and had a good time. Mostly playing bolt action, and we both made a small AWI force that we played muskets and tomahawks. And I think those, and then, yeah, I've got for bolt action, I've got a really extensive German, American, and now Soviet army. And then kind of along with all that, what I always loved along the modeling side, I also like terrain building, and which, if you've seen my channel, that's basically what I've highlighted there. It's bolt action, but then when I finally got back, after I'd kind of built those couple bolt action armies, I got back to my Bretonnians, which was what my channel kind of focused on, and I loved doing that. Never played them until finally this last fall when Palmer and Rsty, we all met in Des Moines and played a game, 2 games of the old world. So it wasn't 5th edition, which is what I dreamed of. That's what I was going to do someday, which I still will, because I've got fully painted force and based for that. They're ready to go, and I've got the magic set and the cards and all the things I need. So, but it was super fun to play the old world, and especially a game, now that it's back live and happening and living again. So that was cool, a lot of fun, really enjoyable game. Those are the only 2 games I played of that. But yeah, and then I really enjoy making really immersive tables. World War II tables. I built a pretty extensive Normandy type table, France and the Bocage and stuff, and then the one that I've got set up now is my Stalingrad table, and yeah, I really love. I always call it doll housing, really, because it's like, it's not just like this clump of trees in this one house that represents something. I have to have the bicycle
Full
leaning up
immersion.
against. And the menu out in front of the French cafe, and I mean, I have to have it all. It's fun to get the pictures, get down eye level. I'm like a 3-year-old just getting down in there, and we're, shooting our guys at each other. And Smitty's the same way. We have a lot of fun doing that. And I've gotten together with Rsty a few times too, and we've played bolt action and American War of Independence, and so so that's kind of been my hobby journey. As far as and now I'm also, like what Rsty said, I bit off a new thing. I'm painting 15 millimeter ACW. I remember when Smitty and I were looking at either doing ACW or AWI, and we debated, because I'm not building a 28 millimeter army for both of those, and I thought AWI looked a little bit more interesting because of the different kinds of colors of uniforms, and then they didn't have these massive battles, so that you didn't have to. It wasn't like Napoleonics. It's kind of it's like Napoleonics, only like junior scale. You don't have near the size of units, near the amount of dudes. So we went that route, but I kept hearing ACW calling me, and I thought, well, I could do it in these 15 mils. I've used Old Glory 15 millimeter, and they're extremely affordable. They ship quickly. They're older models, I guess. If you like the style or you don't like the style,
80s and 90s.
Yeah, but they are really exaggerated in their wrinkles in their clothing and their variety. Like, I'll get a pack of 48, and there'll be maybe 2 or 3 of them will you have doubles or triples of. There'll be, out of 48, there'll be 20 some individual poses. So they're fun to paint. It's not boring, and you can paint up the 15 mil really quickly, and then you get that massive look on the table. You can do large maneuvers and stuff. So that's been kind of fun to try a different scale and mess with that. I have through the years also collected some War Master miniatures. So I have a pretty good collection of Bretonnians, surprise there, and which are 10 millimeter. And then I've got some undead for that. But I'd like to try those. I enjoy painting the small scale as well. But as soon as I've got to put a few more touches on this ACW Confederate force I'm working on, and you're never done, but that'll be at least a nice playable force. And then I do really this winter anticipate getting back to my Bretonians. I'm really excited about that. I've got every single miniature that they had available for 5th edition, including several limited, like Games Day miniatures. So I think I have them all. I have a pretty extensive collection of 5th edition Lizardmen, and which I know Josh really has an affinity for.
Oh, them, yeah.
And then, but I do have a undead force too that I've collected. Those would be the only 3 I would ever collect, just because you got to draw the line somewhere. But
no, you do not draw the line anymore.
I draw the line, Rsty. You got to do it.
You have to have everything. He who dies with everything wins.
Well, right? I picked those 3, and I'm trying to have everything of those 3. And so actually, some of my undead models I got from Josh. Remember that, Josh? I sent you that mighty fortress and some of the siege equipment and stuff, and then you sent me a nice box of some really cool undead miniatures.
Yeah, Ark and the Black, the classic.
Yep. So that would be the next thing. I think they would jump ahead of the Lizardmen, actually. I would do the undead. And I've kind of already got a vision. I want to do like a fall theme for them, sort of a harvest fall theme, just because that's what I remember as when I was a kid, like, what you'd think of as like skeletons and ghouls and ghosts, at least to me, was always kind of in the fall and Halloween and Midwestern, with the scarecrow and so I was going to have a lot of pumpkins on the bases and scarecrows and ravens and dead trees and just kind of that kind of thing. So that was going to be my theme for that, and fall leaf color.
On a side note, I was over at Walgreens today.
Yeah.
And guess what's all over the shelves?
Oh, don't tell me it's Halloween stuff.
Halloween stuff's on the shelves.
Good grief.
It's July. And Halloween
I know. It's earlier all the time. Just one last thing. As far as other interests, I do like outdoor stuff. Like gardening and growing things and critters and all that stuff. But the other hobby that's been taking my last 2 summers up a little bit. I used to paint year round, and now these last 2 summers, I've been working on restoring some antique tractors from. What I'm working on now is from the 30s, and so that I really love that. I don't have a heated space to work in, and it gets colder than bejesus in the winter here. So I kind of work on that in the summer while I can, and then I get into harvest here in the fall, the next 2 months, and then I'll be back to miniature painting hardcore until May again. But anyway, it kind of breaks it up a little bit too, and I get just as jazzed. I'm like all in when I do stuff, which you guys kind of know that. It starts a project and I don't jump off of it. I don't skitter around. I don't see the shiny thing. And so, I get all invested. Anyway, that's kind of me in a nutshell.
All right, Dan. Thank you, man. I know it's nice to hear that your mother was part of your.
She was the door that opened it for me. Otherwise, I don't know. Maybe I just stumbled across it, or I'd been at the wrong place in my life for that to grab me the way it did. But it's foundational for me now, and part of it is that because she's passed away now. But it's just that's always been such a huge influence in my life. So yeah.
Nice, mate. That's wonderful. Yeah, that's great. So thanks again, Dan, for your introduction. And I know it's good because I've been following, obviously, you guys for a long time through your live stream. So I sort of know a lot about you guys anyway and what you're doing. But yeah, it'd be really nice for the people watching this to get a bit of an insight into what you guys.
Yeah, that's what I figured. It's a different crowd, maybe a little bit. So
yeah, progress from maybe finding fantasy, entering historicals, then coming back into fantasy and having a bit of a blend of both of them and different scales as well.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm hoping to get my channel active again. I know people keep asking about it, and I think it's weird. It's because I enjoy doing it. I think there's two things. One, I don't really have a decent camera, and I know you can use your phone and all that, but I think that's some of it. And then it just seems like in the last couple of years, I feel like I have so many things I want to do, like in that even if you don't edit your videos and stuff, it takes some time to do it, and then maybe you say something stupid, so you start over, and then you upload it, and then you feel like you want to respond to questions, and then I started to notice too, I would post videos because of what people wanted, and as opposed to necessarily like, now I'm all into World War II Soviets, and everybody's like, well, when are you getting back to the Bretonians, and and it's like, which is fair. And I get that, but I would always be like, well, I'm just sharing what I do, but then people wouldn't watch some of the stuff much, because they didn't want to know about that, which is fine. But then I kind of noticed it was controlling me rather than me controlling it.
Yeah.
So
no, that's
anyway, I'll shut up.
Yeah, I say, like anybody who makes videos, just be grateful that they're doing it, and just enjoy the time when they're available, because it's not going to be around forever,
right?
We know.
Well, it's not like you make tons of money, and
it's a job.
Yeah, but I like to share what I'm doing, and then I've gotten so much good out of watching other people's videos. I think that's what started it. Was people were like, oh, you got to share some pictures of what you're doing, and then I know I got lots of inspiration from all three of you guys from your videos through the years, and even just in the last few weeks, that I felt like, okay, not that I'm do anything that's amazing, but if it just hits the right person the right way, that it kind of inspires them or gives them an idea or something, or gets them off the couch and onto the picking up a brush, that was worth it. That's cool. I want to inspire somebody else. And so you feel like you want to be part of the community, but boy, I just need like 29 hours in the day or something instead of 24.
Or just sleep 4 hours a day. You're good.
I don't get much sleep, but yeah, I'm limited what I can get done. But I really would like to get back to doing it. And I think if I get back to painting Bretonians this winter, I think I will post that, because that is the thing that people still bring up to me, and I really enjoy. They're my passion, is the Bretonians. Yeah.
Yeah, good, mate. Well, you get back to you'll get back to it when you feel like it.
It'll be there when I get there, right?
That's it. You can't force yourself to do something that you're not ready for. That's what I think. Because once you do it, if you do that, it's sort of you're not going to get the 100% out that you need for it.
Well, at the end of the day, it's supposed to be a hobby, right? And if it's if it's not fun, or if it's work or effort.
Yeah, that's it, mate.
Yeah.
All right, Dan. Well, thanks for that, mate. We look forward in anticipation for whatever videos you do release in the future, whether it be bolt action or Bretonians or restoring tractors or whatever, mate. You just
you bet. Thanks.
Okay, and then Palmer, mate, you're lucky last here, mate.
Okay. Yeah. So, well, I guess I have some similarities to the other gentlemen that have talked here in interests and timelines. I mean, I also kind of came through the hobby through fantasy. I did start with D&D as well. That was my exposure. But for miniature games, initially it was D&D, and I started painting miniatures with enamel paints and didn't really know how to paint at all. It was just solid blocks of paint. I was fairly young. And then I did come across for Wargaming Rogue Trader as one of the first things. There were some kids at school that were playing it, and I kind of got into that with a dirty shirt, just started buying the models and the books, and not really knowing a lot of how to play, and starting painting everything still with enamel paints at that point, because I was getting everything at a comic book store. It wasn't like a proper hobby shop. And so I did that, not very serious, but just it was fun and I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like I wasn't heavily into it. It was Rogue Trader. It was probably above my head at the time, as far as the detail and the rules and things. And I took a long break after that, and just, went to school after high school. And I probably spent a good portion of a decade not in the hobby at all. I had a brief period of time where I got into I tried to get into 6th edition Warhammer Fantasy. I had a coworker when I was out of college and like in a job that I'd found out was into it and said, "Do you want to do this?" And it never really. I bought the army, painted it, read the rules, and then nothing happened. Like nobody played, and so I held on to that for years. But I still have the rule book and all those things, and I got into 40K in about 2012, and seriously got into gaming again. And I played it for a couple of years, and I read all the books, like a lot of the Rsty stuff, and I was really into it. I was playing the Space Marine video game too. I was really quite into that on the console, and that kind of actually preceded. That kind of got me back into it, and I really got into the universe again. But then I found I kind of got pretty disillusioned with the game fairly quick. I came in like at some point in 6th edition, and by 7th edition, I was kind of already on my way out. So pretty quick. And I I kind of then got into historical gaming, and I started with bolt action, and then my favorite period is French Indian War, and there's like playlists on my channel, and I have a lot of videos on that with bat reps and hobby stuff. I got into musket helmhawks and sharp practice for French Indian War, and still my favorite period to paint and to pick up and play at times. And then I got into a lot of things. I spent years kind of looking for games that I would enjoy. And I got into a lot of small niche games like World of Twilight and Savage Core. I wouldn't call Infinity small at all, but I got into Infinity for a bit. And I have a smattering of collection of things that I've picked up and only took so far. And this is mostly the hobby painting stuff, because I did do X-Wing and Armada, and I did like those, which didn't really require much hobbying. But at one point, I circled back to the Warhammer Fantasy to try that. And it was actually during a period where it was canceled, and I actually played with Friends 6th edition for a couple of years. And I played the Beastmen. And I really fell in love with the game. I really like rank and flank gaming, fantasy gaming, and in particular, the rank and flank style of game. I actually prefer the Warhammer 40K style universe as far as the lore, and I more identify with it, and it kind of inspires me more. But I actually much prefer the rank and flank style game of the Warhammer Fantasy. And that's kind of a big part of what I do now is the Warhammer Fantasy. I've recently picked up Adeptus Titanicus, and I'm really enjoying, I've had my first game of that. I'm really enjoying that because it allows me to do a lot of cool little conversions and stuff on the bases and get into the lore of the Warhammer 40K without actually getting into another big 20 millimeter game. I don't really have, in my mind, the time and the money to play more than one large GW game. And because I found Old World to be so much fun, and also prior editions of Warhammer Fantasy that I've played, I think that is something I'll continue with. I'm currently doing Orcs and Goblins, and I've got some Boar Boys on the table right now. And yeah, I'm trying to think of what else I could share. I do actually like to collect old models of both fantasy and like sci-fi or 40K, and so I have some videos on my channel of old hammer type content. I collect probably a mixture of middle hammer and old hammer. For those of you that are into that, would know like the differences in the time periods. But yeah, and then at one point along the way in my YouTube journey, because I learned a lot how to paint from watching YouTube videos. And because of that, I started to just do my own videos to kind of just join the community. And we're now in the Musty Wargamers finishing our 8th season, going into our 9th season, so our 9th year doing it. And we're a very small niche kind of group of individuals, and we have a Facebook page, and it's just something just to hang out and have fun, really, really loose. But Rsty and I started it about 8 to 9 years ago, and then Dan and and Tim both came on as guests for a very long period of time as regular guests, and then kind of joined us as regular full-fledged members to help with the show. And so so it's been a lot of fun, and we actually, Josh, really appreciate your hanging out in the chat like people are doing in your chat right now, just kind of talking and basically the camaraderie, which is a huge component of it.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. I've been a massive fan of your show. I don't know how I came across it. Maybe it was because of Rsty's channel, because I've been a subscriber of Rsty's channel for quite a while, ever since he did some epic net epic videos. I think that's how I found Rusty.
Yeah, that would have been 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago.
I don't know. I think during COVID, during that time, I was looking because I was getting back into the whole GW thing, and then I was to get into Epic, and I thought, okay, I'll just try to find any content on YouTube about Epic, and there wasn't much, as you can understand. And then I just found some videos about Net Epic, which then I got to learn about what that was, and I saw you had all the wonderful old Epic Space Marine models, the Chaos and everything, and you're playing other guys there, and so that was really nice to get back into. So I started subscribing to your channel then, Rsty, and then maybe at some point I discovered that you had live streams or something, and then I found out about your live stream, and then I started following it, and then that's how I discovered Palmer's channel, and then I saw Dan was there. I thought, oh wow, that's Dan, all those years ago, and then sort of followed ever since, and really enjoyed the conversations you guys have about just wargaming in general, or just life stuff, or whatever. It's been nice to follow that.
I'd say the Epic game, Space Marine Epic, was the second really big, large game I started playing, other than Battletech. That was my first really miniature game. But yeah, it was, I still love playing the game. Whenever I can ever get a game in, it's not very, there's something about it. And it's, Palmer, he's gotten into the Titanicus stuff now.
Yep.
And I played Epic Apocalypse and Mordheim. There's like a number of things I didn't mention, all things that I kind of did along the way, But yeah, I really enjoyed games of Epic Armageddon, which is later than the ones you guys are talking about. But
yeah, it was right after I got into Epic. Then I realized there's this Warhammer universe, and my friend John, he owned Alliance Miniatures, which was here in town. Right. And my one friend Mel, who hops onto our live stream, Mel was over for our live stream. We played our game over here.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, yeah. And he was working there, and I come to realize is that, you look familiar. Where I know you from? And it's like we were in the same unit together.
Oh, right.
So I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah.
Wow. Small world.
Yeah. I was like, hey, he was working there as John's worker. And he had Alliance Miniatures, had ACW and Napoleonics was his main 15 mil armies that he always had on hand. And that's how I got into Napoleonics and Civil War. I just would go in and say, hey, it was like I'd buy a bunch of packs of his stuff, and then I'd sit there watching TV, and I'd assemble them and then paint them on watching TV. And then before you know it, we end up with a large force. We used to, back in the 90s, early 90s, and to almost 2000, we had a club here in Des Moines, Mid-Iowa Wargamers, MIA.
That's
kind
great.
of play on it, but because gamers are always missing. That's why we played a lot of historicals, Civil War and Napoleonics. Most of the guys that were in the club were all historical players, and I was always big into fantasy and sci-fi. I was like, hey, throw dice, travel. Oh, I'm ready to go. Let's go play. Like I started. I never did mention I played D&D in the late 70s and 80s. It's one of my first really forte. It was we played board games and we played D&D. I got 5 brothers, and we would always sit around playing board games or playing D&D together all the time. And we still, to this day, we get together probably about 4 times a year and play Battletech together.
Battletech, yeah, that's so cool.
So, since I mentioned Battletech, I must drink.
Must have a sip.
Yeah.
That's a little tradition. It came out of repetition.
Yeah,
You mentioned Battletech, you must have a drink.
Yes.
must have a drink.
Never played Battletech. So
Me neither.
it seems really involved and pretty crunchy. Is that right, Rusty? Like,
Well, not necessarily. But some people think it's really elaborate and takes forever to play. And I've been doing it for so long. I'm on autopilot for the game. But
Right.
yeah, it's like you got record sheets to go with it, and your mech can only do certain things, which you got certain speeds. You can jump if some mechs can jump. They have some small energy weapons or big giant blasty cannons, and you name it. And everything creates heat when you use it, unless it's so you got to manage your heat. You got these heat sinks on them, and your mech can only eliminate so much heat. So, and you can overload your mech through too much heat.
Yeah.
Especially energy mechs, so you got energy weapons, and so you can superheat it. Next thing you know, stuff starts shutting down, and you're like, oh crap. And if you get hit with too many some heavy weapons, you take so much damage, you got to make a pilot check, and you can take a no header. It's like, whoops, so I lost my footing, and plunk, and you knock yourself out.
Yeah.
That's the one fun thing is that you can really cause issues for yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm a kind of a conservative player in the game, so I don't like.
Play it safe.
I play it safe, but I'm a tactician that plays it safe and never always look out because you're going to get stabbed in the back somehow. But
All right. And I think I also discovered your channel because I was working from home at that stage.
yeah,
So years ago when I started working from home, so I was always looking for something to watch online.
yes,
during the day. And I think that's when it sort of flashed up. Oh, the Musty Wargamers is going live or whatever. And I sort of got onto that when that was happening. But I forgot the Musty question. What everyone's drinking tonight? I know Rusty's drowning some Dewar's whiskey. How about you?
I got a small bottle of Dewar's tonight.
I'm just having a beer tonight, so just a same one I had on the last show, the Granville Island English Bay Ale. I'm not doing any spirits tonight.
Yeah, good idea, mate. And
I'm just drinking water.
good, mate. Did you have your what did you drink? Bourbon and Coke or something, don't you, mate?
Rum and Coke. Captain
Coke.
Morgan and Coke. Yeah, either that or Jameson ginger ale. That's the other thing I like. But
That's right.
not much of a beer drinker. My wife likes wine. I don't. Yeah, those are the two things I like.
Yeah.
That's something I need to do. Is I got to order some wine yeast.
Oh yeah.
I'll probably have about 10 gallons worth of grapes in the backyard right now.
Okay.
I got a bumper crop this year.
I've made wine before with those kits.
Yeah.
I always would start with the grape juice. You can go back to the grapes, but I would start just with the juice, and the kits would make like 30 bottles. It was kind of fun to do, but it's easier just to buy what you want.
Yeah, I have 3 varieties of grapes in my backyard.
I knew you said you had some, and I think I remembered seeing some of the vines when I was there.
Yeah. Patty, my wife, her cousin has a vineyard over in eastern Iowa, over by Maquoketa.
Oh,
And
yeah. I've been to
so-
Maquoketa.
Oh, about 25 years ago, I think it was, somewhere in there. Went over there because I always go hunting on his property, pheasant hunting or deer hunting.
Yeah.
And it was like, we're talking, and he's like, well, if you ever want any cuttings, you can have some of whatever variety you want. He's like, I got this white grapes, I got dark grapes. What kind of wine do you like? And I was like, I'm a rosé kind of guy. And he's like, well, you want this and this and these kind here. So I got a bunch of cuttings from him, and next thing you know, Jeb's a million. But so I started in on it, and
you're a grape farmer then.
Yeah, there was a time I had a friend of mine up by Perry. She had like 5 acres, and I had 5 acres of grapes up there. And I would grow the grapes and harvest them and sell them to the winery.
Cool.
And then she retired and moved, so I kind of lost the property. But yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah, that's cool.
I enjoy it.
What about you, Josh? You got anything going?
What's that, mate? Sorry, going on what?
You got a musty drink?
No, I haven't. To be honest, normally I wake up about 5:36 in the morning, but today I did wake up because my bloody wife's alarm clock went off, but she was downstairs. So I woke up, went downstairs, and then here's your bloody phone, woman. Take this. And then I thought I'll just go back to sleep and see if I can just sleep for another hour or so. And I slept in until 9 o'clock because I'd been up until just up past midnight working. And I thought I'd better get some sleep. And then we had breakfast together. And then I thought, I don't really feel like, I've got a beer in the fridge, but I don't really feel like cracking it open now. Plus I've got to work later. So
yeah,
if my boss ever sees this, I'll be getting fired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll have one later, mate, when we do my Thank Gork It's Friday video.
There you go.
I'll have that to crack open.
So are you buried in commissions, or how are you doing on that?
Yeah, mate, I've been very blessed with some amazing people out there who've kept this machine going, if you like.
That's awesome.
This painting machine. That's me, by the way. Or another, probably, I think 2026 is all booked out, and so I'll be taking 2027. So, and I don't know, but a friend of mine, another David, mate of mine in the US, may even join the chat here today, but he said, I'll book you out for 2027 to do Dark Elves, like his entire Dark Elf collection. So I don't know if that's ever.
Oh, that's awesome.
If that was true or not, but I just finished doing a massive undead army for him and a load of Foundry medals, which are beautiful. I love doing those. You would really love those, Dan. They're like, the proper, Chivalric. Is that Chivalric? Chivalric. That's it.
Chivalric.
And the Foot Knights and all the townsfolk and everything. Yeah, they're really beautiful models. Yeah,
I've got some of the what they call when you go on their website, the ex-Citadel models, they call them. They've got those night packs. I have one, and I'm going to use those for Foot Knights for my if I play Old World again, just because they match my 5th edition a lot better. Yep. I keep wanting to send you something, just like one night to have, or a character to have you paint, just because that'd be cool, just to have one Josh painted mini. That would be like in the display cabinet. Yeah, maybe we can exchange it for some Baron's War stuff you got there, mate. If you got some Baron, I know you got a lot of Baron's War stuff. If you don't, maybe we can do some kind of exchange for that. Yeah, we can exchange, or if you like the cash and you can pick the Baron's War stuff you want, that works too. Yeah, that will come to something. Yeah. Actually, saying that, I've got a whole box full of Baron's War stuff to paint for my sponsor, Scott, over Black Arrow. Because he's been sending me stuff, like miniatures and stuff to help me out with for battle reports and everything. I said, mate, I can't let you do this all the time. This is costing you money. So let me pay you somehow
So he sent me 1,000 points of Baron's War stuff to do. So that's good content for the for my
that's
other
awesome.
Sword Sake at some point.
Yeah, I've enjoyed watching, seeing you paint those up, doing, dipping into historicals a little bit.
Yeah, man, it's Musty influence. You guys have influenced me to become. So it's rubbed off on me, mate. Tell you what.
Yeah, I guess that's good. Although I love watching you paint the fantasy stuff in the old school style, and it's that's how I found your channel, obviously, or maybe not obviously, but way back. I mean, when did you start your channel? Do you remember?
It would have been. It's more than 6 years ago, but 6 years ago I started doing the Crown of Command.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before that was called Section 9 Studios.
Yes, I found you back then.
Right.
Okay, because that's when I was completely doing the Bretonnian stuff, and you start searching YouTube for like 5th edition, type content or old hammer, any of that. They're just, well, back then there was almost nothing, and even yet there's not a ton of channels doing stuff like that. And I remember finding yours, and I just like watched literally every video that you'd made, just because it's like, this is what I've been looking for.
Yeah.
And the passion you have for that, whether it's nostalgia or I don't know what it is, but it's the same way I feel kind of about that old stuff, and the old hand sculpted and, metal miniatures, and I don't know, just some of it is probably nostalgia, some of it's just a style preference, but
yeah. No,
I think a lot of the old hammer stuff, is because I started playing it under Rogue Trader, and then the old fantasy rules before they went to the box set. That was at 4th edition, so it was 3rd edition fantasy.
Yeah. Yep, 4th edition was the first box set.
Yeah, and we would always play over at John's Alliance Miniatures. A Saturday he would open it up, and people would come over, and he had 6 benches that he used to his work benches, and he'd cover them over, and we'd be playing some type of fantasy game or Rogue Trader game or Epic game, or you name it. Cool. So there's always games going on. Mm-hmm. And so that was before they were, and none of the game shops in the city had tables to play at, so you always had to play in your basement or
sure.
Or so that was our local once a week meeting up for everybody. It was kind of a great place to meet individuals. And the sad thing is that most of the individuals I remember playing with back then, that a lot of the historical guys are all gone now. They're literally passed on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's unfortunate, mate.
Yeah. We're talking 35 years ago.
Yeah.
And, they were in their 50s and 60s then.
Yeah. Shoot, that's where we're at.
Yep.
Yeah. Dan, don't remind me.
Jeez. Sometimes the truth hurts,
I might grab that beer after all in a minute. I think that's
yeah.
Oh, no.
I remember the first time, and this would have been like, it was during the 5th edition time frame, but when I finally I was getting down to the hobby shops. That was before I had to shut the hobby off for kids and stuff, but I'd go down like once a year to pick up some paints and stuff. There's a place in Omaha called the Dragon's Lair, and it's an old hobby shop. You go in there, and they've got just old. It's amazing, the collection. It's like going to an old Irish pub. It's just feels ancient, and they'd have these tubs on the ground of blisters they'd pulled off the racks that were discounted like 50% off or whatever. And that's where I got most of my Bretonnians. But I remember they had gaming tables. Excuse me. And I remember the first time I walked in, this was like on a Friday or Saturday night or something, and there was, I think it was like 4 tables set up and these people playing these armies, and I was like, oh my word, this is cool. And some of the stuff was, at least the way I remember it, was painted incredibly well, and they had display cabinets there with people had armies that they'd store at the store, and And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this. And I remember I just started chewing it off when I was like, yep, nope, this is this is not happening today or now. But it was so fun getting back to the Bretonians to because I dreamed of doing that, and it was like years later I could paint to the level that I kind of was happy with, I guess, which I probably couldn't have back then. I didn't have the paints or the techniques or the knowledge or whatever, and so that was so rewarding. And I learned to paint a little bit faster, not by Rusty's standard. You'd have to set stakes to see if I'm making progress. Like, did he move at all? But for me, I feel like, in like a couple of weeks, I could paint a unit, a 20-man unit. And it was like, wow, that's crazy. But yeah, that was such a rewarding project, and I can't wait to get back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old assembly line painting style that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can burn through stuff pretty quickly.
Yep. Sure can, mate.
Yeah, even if you're trying to paint to a fairly high level, you can still, you're being efficient with your colors, and even if you're not making each one identical, like, well, this one's gonna have a yellow shirt, and this one's gonna have a yellow and green half split, top or whatever. Even when you're doing heraldry, the knights do take a long time if you really want to.
Oh yeah, that's the.
Try to get fussy and do the hand fleur-de-lis and stuff.
I have to say, when I look at your knights, there's like, oh my god.
Yeah, there's a lot of time.
I have sensory overload there when I look at those. I'm like, it's like, do I want to take that much time?
Yeah, for me, it's either that or I would feel no sense of, just for that particular army, it has to be that way or nothing,
Yeah.
For me.
Sensory, it's
the way I always dreamed it would be, and I'm like, yeah, this is so perfect. Made me cry when Palmer started killing some of my knights, though, last fall. Some of them didn't even
Beastmen, stop hurting my boys!
Didn't even lower the lance, and he had some spell that plowed through one of my units.
Oh my god!
What was that thing, Palmer?
It's the swarm.
Vile Tide. The insect swarm. Yeah, it's like
an insect swarm. Because it ignored armor.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. You get to roll 6 times. I think it was at the time, because I've been playing Orcs and Goblins now, but it was like you can roll like 6 times 5 dice. Like six dice gives you the number of hits. But then it's only strength 2, but anything that any 6s you get ignores all armor saves, so it's pretty deadly.
Yeah, I remember you
and you pretty much needed 6. You needed 6s to wound, so they just went right on through.
Yeah. Except for ward and regeneration, but yep.
Yeah.
So some of the
and
guys,
then actually that matters. They've actually improved regeneration, Rusty, for your undead. Technically speaking, in Old World right now, but actually, I had a question for Josh. I'm just curious because I know in your background, and I'm sure on your channel and your audience knows, a lot about your background because you've talked about having worked back many years ago for GW. What do you attribute your style of painting and how you learn? Like, is it up through the GW instruction and of the great painters of GW and like all the instructional guides and like that whole process, or would you attribute it to other things?
Yeah, good question, mate. Because I came from an age of, I suppose, like all of us, that we entered the hobby maybe with some. With some background in model kit making, like I was into Tamiya model kits, and I'm sure Rusty and Dan and yourself were probably into that kind of thing as well, picking up model kits and putting them together and gluing things together, and then grabbing some Tamiya spray and spraying them up, probably not priming them or giving them any kind of undercoat, but then we had all smelly oil-based paints and all that kind of stuff. So we've been through all of that. We've been through the tests and trials of doing that as teenagers, and then then struggling with that, and then once I've discovered, and once you probably guys did the same, discovered acrylic paints through Games Workshop through the Citadel range, which were the classic sets in my opinion. I think they were the best, with the Bob Naismith artwork on the front with the Golden Demon, and they were just brilliant. And that sort of just went wow, and of course I had the painting guide that I still have. Thank goodness I found it in Australia when I went back there a couple of years ago, and found it in amongst all my stuff when my parents were moving out of the house.
Which one?
So this is
heavy metal.
This is basically like old Hammer. This is the old Hammer, like 3rd edition era, like 89, I think would have been the time to publish this.
So the red one with the 4 boxes that are blue with like pictures of like miniatures in it. You know what I'm talking about? Like the heavy metal painting guide. Is that the one, or
I don't
heavy
know.
metal studio?
Yeah, I'm not.
It's
sure.
like that.
There's a blue one and a red one.
Yeah.
Not that
That's
one.
right.
One day. Not.
Yeah.
Not
is it those? Not those. Okay.
So this is pre this era.
So pre that. Okay.
Okay. That's going back.
Pre the red era. So this is like really old Hammer, and I don't think I can share the file here, unfortunately. Because but I've actually got it here behind me somewhere. I'll see if I can grab it. Just give me 2 seconds. That's the one.
Oh yeah, that one.
Okay. Yes.
I have
actually I have it too. That's what it's very thin and compared
just
to
a
the
thin
others.
paper.
Yep, I have it
It's
too.
like a flyer.
Yeah, like a flyer.
I got my hands on it because I knew it was like a seminal one.
Actually, is this it? No, sorry, this is not it. This is the catalog. I apologize.
Oh, well, I have the next one that you're going to say too.
That's right.
I'm just kidding.
I have the catalog. I don't have the painting guide, and the painting guide someone very kindly uploaded onto the 4th edition Facebook group. So I quickly downloaded that, and I was very happy to see that. So this is the catalog, not the. But when I got this from my Hero Quest set, they gave you a painting guide with it, and I later realized, thanks to my friend George on Old Hammer and Tongs, there was a blue version of that painting guide. So there's one for 40K and one for fantasy, and I got the one for fantasy. So I don't know if I can upload it here. I'll have to check.
Oh, that's okay.
You can share screen.
Yeah, share a screen, can't I? Okay, let me just see if I can open it up and show you. This would be nice to just go through it, because it's a beautiful thing, and everyone should see this because it's got a lot of good stuff in it. And
I think I know the one you mean. I know the one. Does it have like a dragon on it?
It's got a dragon on it. Okay, here we go. I've got the painting guide here. I'm not sure if it's going to let me share it, but let me just check, and we'll see if we can do it, guys. Window. I think it can do it. Yeah, I've had this issue before, where it won't let you share it won't let you share the file on your computer. I think you need to upload it. Okay, maybe I can upload it. Let me a second. I'll see if I can do that. Upload, PDFs. Upload a PDF. Okay, here we go. Upload. All the technology. Oh, it's doing it. It's doing it. Oh my God.
Right.
You're here.
No
Bloody hell, mate. So you can be musty and with it at the same time. It's doable. So you can do it. Here it is.
There we go. That's it.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, that is the old one. I forgot about that one.
For £1.25, but I'll get it for free because it was like a flyer that you could send away. You had to pay the return envelope, but that gave you this and the catalog and some other information, I suppose, about their products and everything like that. But this is basically the thing that really got me into painting and how I found out how to paint things, and it was all John Blank. Oh, you got it, mate. Oh, you bloody legend.
That is.
How much you want for it? I'll give you $10.
I would never get rid of it, actually.
No, don't get rid of it, mate.
I'm sure there's a price for everything, but I would never get rid of it.
No, don't get rid of that. That's a beautiful thing.
The
I'm just so lucky to have a PDF. Someone uploaded the PDF and was like, bloody hell, I'm going to kiss your forehead if I could find you.
I have that in the Ravening Hordes pamphlet one in here too.
Oh, yeah.
Just so I didn't want to ruin them. But you know, I always I like to paint in a lot of different painting styles. Like I actually like to paint, and I'm kind of leading you down for a very specific question in asking you about how you came about it. And I apologize if you have. I'm sure you have more to say, like besides that you use these publications initially. But I find that with the old hammer painting style, as I'm trying to do it, in the old kind of GW style, that because I came up through 40K initially around 6th edition, I'm always trying to paint more realistic, and I find that it's not as bright. Like a lot of the stuff's not as bright when you're trying to do a lot of weathering and like gritty kind of style. And so when I started to try to learn to paint this style, initially, because I'm right up close to the miniature, everything seemed like it was very stark, like in the sense of in the brightness. A lot of times the highlights, they pop, but when you're up close, it looks less realistic, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, because like the old hammer miniatures are beautiful, and I'm not trying to compare one style to the other.
Yeah,
I think when they're on the table and at a distance, they really do pop, like, and look beautiful, you know. But I guess the question I have for you is, when you do your highlighting and you're doing the old style here, and I've looked through these, do you do things to try to do you use glazing to try to reduce the differences between highlights and base coats and like earlier foundations, or do you find that you like to make it pop more, so this way at a distance they really are striking?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I think to get that really kind of vibrant pop to the miniatures, you have to. I discovered. Now, back in the 90s, they had when the hex pots came out, they brought out a glaze set, and you could buy glazes. Maybe you remember those. Yeah. Yeah. If you're fortunate, you'll have some still on hand. But
no, I don't.
Well, I bought one, and I just wasn't all that fussed with it. You know what I mean? Like, I just couldn't work out how to work it. They had like a guide in the White Dwarf about it, and they had like, Gotrek and Felix. Felix Jaeger is one of the models I'm using on his red cloak, and it was basically how to once you start applying your highlights through yellows and whites and everything, you could apply a glaze, and it was sort of just it will emblazon the color, so you get like a really vibrant red, but it'll sort of tone down the highlights at the same time. But I really couldn't get my head around it, and I just found that I just didn't really use them. I didn't buy them, and until when I started getting back into doing this and doing it full time, that a guy from the Warcolors company reached out to me and said, if you like, I'll send you some of my new Nostalgia 94 paints and the glaze set. And I said, yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. So he did that, and thanks to him for that, because once I tried those glazes, I could really see how these would really, you're just turning up that contrast dial and saturation dial up to 11. You know what I mean? Take praise from the Spinal Tap guys. Just turning it up a notch, and that sort of unlocked that for me a lot. I think that really intensifies the yellows. It really gets the reds to pop, because they're sort of the prominent colors that you're using those glazes for. Yeah. And so that helped a lot. But, it was kind of me having to, because I've got, I've started sort of repainting things that I've painted 5 or 6 years ago, because I'm, as I'm doing this work, I'm noticing the differences between, how bright and how colorful the miniatures are now compared to what I was doing 5 years ago. Yeah. So it's almost like I've sort of intensified the colors, and the style has sort of got to a point where everything's so vibrant, everything's so just glowing on the tabletop. Then I'm
Yeah.
looking at my other stuff thinking, wow, they look really terrible in comparison. I need to go over that. So I started doing that myself, going over my own miniatures that I painted, thinking that they were, to a very, obviously to a decent tabletop standard, but they just weren't having that pop, that sort of that glowing effect that I really wanted to get.
Do you only use the glazes that are in the sets, or do you make your own sometimes?
So I use the glazes that I have here just directly out of the bottle. Now you can mix them with your paint as well if you want to thin them out. It's kind of like an ink, but they're very thinned out, but very they've got a lot of pigment in it. So so you could use them in very, very small quantities, and as long as you're sort of applying it and glazing over the colors correctly, you can really make things pop with those colors.
Do you attribute that primarily as to the difference, or do you think there's other things too, like in your experience?
I think those really do help if you really want that 90s pop, that night glow effect on colors. They certainly help. Inks certainly help, because for a long time I didn't use inks at all, and inks certainly help as well, especially when you're adding and you're mixing it in with the paints as well, because you're getting that sort of intense contrast built into the paint. And using whites to highlight things, where I used to use a lot of grays to highlight things. I went through a gray phase. Everything was prime gray, and I was highlighting everything with gray, especially when I was going through my confrontation period through Rackham, doing all those kind of French-style paint jobs on those wonderful models, and very subdued colors and that kind of thing. So I've gone out of that into this very high contrast, saturated style.
So you highlight up with the white and then tone it back just slightly with the color. Is that kind of what you do? Like, kind of when you're looking for really brights, like your brightest highlight, you'll do the white, and then, and I don't mean the very, very tip, like the very last, but like even before that, like you just sort of take it higher in the brightness and then tone it back slightly, rather than starting in the grays. Or do you just go right to the white?
For the process, and you can see probably see it in the painting videos I've done as well, I tend to go, if I'm going to paint something blue, I tend to do it in the old school style. I'll just go for like a sort of a darker blue, and then build it up through like a mid, then high, and then have the paints on my palette, so that when I start building up to the really high highlights, I can sort of cut back with the midtones and blend it through, because I'm sort of painting on a very wet surface of paint, so I'm not letting it dry, and sort of just keep mixing and blending as I go, until I get to those really high notes. And then if I need to add an extra highlight, I can do that. And you're really working with very, very small increments of paint, not a lot. So you sort of you're working with very small amounts of paint just to get into the areas that you really want to apply highlights to.
Yeah.
It's a little bit difficult to explain.
You're doing a lot of thin layers, right?
You're doing lots of thin layers, really.
Yeah, which makes sense.
And I've seen when you do it, you're kind of working back and forth sometimes. Like you really will look, get way light, and then you glaze over that to bring it back, and then you highlight it again, but in a smaller area. And you work off a wet palette, right?
Yeah, wet palette. Yeah.
Okay. What wet palette do you use, and do you think there's a reason? Is there a good one? Is that just you don't care, whatever?
I just get the Red Grass Games stuff.
Okay.
I think they make. I mean, it is a palette. It is just a piece of plastic, but
with the sponge,
keeps everything hydrated.
There is good, and I just use for the paper. I just use this silicone resin cooking sheets. I just use this stuff for $1.
Okay, just cooking.
It's fine.
Wax paper,
parchment paper, right?
It's parchment paper.
Yeah.
It's like a silicone resin. It's kind of a little bit different.
Okay. Huh.
So when you buy one of those pallets, you get the sponges and the sheets with it, of course.
Right.
And then, but the sheets are quite expensive, and they're a little bit difficult to get here in Japan. So I just went for this stuff, and it works a treat. Yeah. So.
Do you find that some of the fundamentals of the Foundry system is very similar to the early Citadel stuff too? Do you think that there's a commonality there?
Yeah, for sure. and given, you know, of their shared relationship between the Ansels and probably is it coat to arms? They're probably just coat to paint, I would imagine. I've never tried them myself, but I know a lot of guys use it. But they've got that triad system.
Yeah.
Sort of follow the same kind of system, pretty old school. You know, we have like a dark, medium, and a light color.
Right.
And do it that way. So I think we all have our own system of painting. Like, you know, Rsty has his, and Dan has his, and you have your own, and everybody's a little bit different.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and I don't mean to put you on the spot. I kind of like
you're right,
because you do a lot of a very specific type. You know, I know that you're doing the historical now too. To be honest, you're doing beautiful miniatures and applying it to other areas. But it's just given that you've done so much of the old school, old world kind of stuff, that style of painting, I was interested in a couple of those questions just because I dabble in it, and a lot of times I do end up with darker miniatures than I'm setting out to, and they also look darker dry than when they're wet. You know, like that's something I always deal with. But you know, and so like I like to hear your sort of opinion on it. So.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I went through different phases of going from white base coats to black base coats to grey base coats, now back to white base coats, and it depends on what it is. So, like my Baron's War stuff that I've done, and especially Baron's War, it's all done in black primer because I really want dark
armor,
and most of them are black anyway. So, you know, I want everything dark. Most of it's metallics, so the metallics just go better over blacks than whites. White primer. So, and I'm looking for a different aesthetic look because I want them to look gritty and, you know, battle worn. And then the Test of Honor stuff I've done is a much brighter kind of look to them because they're more of a fantasy-esque kind of, you know, bunch of Ronin and migrants, you know, running around the you know, medieval Japan and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, each kind of project or anything I try to do to paint has kind of a process behind it that makes it a little bit different. So my Rackham stuff again looks very much in that sort of French style, non-metallic metals, a lot of subdued colors, a lot of various different glazes, and a lot of verdigris and all that kind of stuff that makes those French style miniatures very different from everything else. And of course, the Herohammer stuff has a different process again, where again you're looking for it to achieve a style that's fitting of the period. So it's kind of like historical painting. It's kind of a shared relationship where you want to go old school with the old school miniatures, you want to go new school with the kind of more new school miniatures, and I've always enjoyed for myself, you know, having different styles because it gives me a different challenge for different things. And I won't say I'm a very unique painter in that because I try to mimic the studio schemes or something. You know, I try to copy what they've done and make them look the same. That's kind of the joy I get because, you know, I'm doing these wing lancers at the moment for David, and I want them to be exactly like they're on the photos. So the horses are the same pose, the same colors, everything's painted exactly the same. So that's kind of the challenge I get. All the freehand has to be the same. All the shield types have to be the same.
Right.
You know, all that kind of thing. So that's kind of the pleasure I get out of doing that, replicating something.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't consider I have a very unique style. Well, other painters, I can look at a picture and say, oh yeah, I know Colty painted that because that's his style, and you know, I know that you know, Dave Sopper painted that because that's his style. He's got a very unique style to how he paints, and everything is painted the same, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So all the miniature, I'm sorry, I didn't mean.
Go ahead, Dan.
I was just going to ask Josh, of all the miniatures and armies in your collection, is there what would be the one you're like either most proud of, or just not even necessarily the paint job, but just, I don't know, it gives you the most satisfaction, or that you would never, I mean, it's like your prize collection, your miniature collection?
I think it had to be the Orc and Goblins. I think That's
As a total army or just a specific model?
Yeah, total army. I would feel that would be the lowest point of my life if I ever had to get rid of that.
Yeah.
even though someone has to pay for my solids, my kids, my son's college education at some point, so something has to go at some point, I'd say, to pay for. But
that's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope we can win the lottery.
Get scholarships.
10 years I need to win the lottery by then. But that's probably my prize collection of all original metal, night goblins, metal orcs, stuff I've been collecting for many, many years, and still painting. So
yeah, you repaint even.
I've even repainted a lot of it, and I'm still repainting some parts of it. So just to get it up to a level that I'm really, really happy with, and expanding on that army too. I've got some other stuff that came in recently to expand on the night goblins because I really wanted to. I saw Angry Tabletop Nerd, the guy on YouTube here. Rsty might know him. I don't know. Holy Diver. Anyhow.
Oh, Holy Diver. Yeah.
He does a lot of these old world battle reports and 8th edition battle reports. He plays night goblins exclusively, and I really like the look of these big, solid blocks of units. Night goblins with squigs and squig herders and all that. So it really got me to think. Yeah, I'm really kind of inspired to expand on that as well and make it a massive war. Because it's kind of like a collection at the same time, but I really want to make it, a playable, feasible army. Also, that's
What's your favorite miniature then in that army?
It's pretty difficult to point at exactly which one. I think maybe one of the shamans, because there's two different shaman types, and there's one particular one that I really like with the staff. He's got the staff pulling towards his head, and it's got it sort of leaning on his head, kind of thing. I'll just pull him out of the thing. I like stone trolls, of course. The stone trolls are some of my favorites as well.
I always wanted those.
And the giant. I mean, there's so many. But I was really happy to get this guy, and when I started, collecting.
Yeah.
But this guy I love.
That looks familiar. I think I got that one.
That is a classic.
Because they only made two shamans apart from the Brian Nelson one that came later. But this one particular I really loved. I was really happy to get him.
See, do you think in 20 or 30 years they'll be saying that about miniatures out now? This is kind of the same thing they talk about collector cars like from the 60s and 70s. Nobody talks about, like, you aren't going to be like, oh, this 2016
Honda
Games Workshop computer generated miniature. That's always been my.
Oh yeah, there he is. Got him too.
It's like I don't know if they speak to you anymore.
Wow. No, I'm just trying to piss you off on Joshua. I actually would never be able to stand up to the amount of stuff you have in your room, but I did get it. I got a little awesome haul of somebody that was just never playing fantasy anymore and really didn't care about the stuff anymore. Like, and just happened to be like, hey, like if you're interested in this stuff, like, and I just took a look at it. And I got a mix of all kinds of cool stuff, and this stuff that pretty good price. But this is actually complete, but it's just in pieces. But you probably recognize this guy.
Azag the Slaughterer.
Yeah. There I see him.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's one model I never did get.
I have the whole thing. It's just it's broken because he just had it.
I don't know how much you want for that, mate. I'll give you $50. Done. Deal. Perfect. Sold.
There you go.
The man.
All right. If you don't want it for 50, I'll give you 40. Okay.
This is gonna be a live auction. This is gonna be a live auction at Palmer's house.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, no, there was just a lot of cool stuff in there, and I'm using it because right now this came out of that.
Yeah.
And I'm.
Oh, you got another one.
Yeah.
Another Doom Diary.
This is the earlier one. I have like the more recent one that I painted, but these guys are great in Old World.
Oh yeah, they're really nasty.
Yeah, but I have the whole chariot for this guy.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of cool things that came out of that.
Was that recent, Palmer? Or
It was
is this...
very, very recent, just in the last like 2 months. So this whole thing is filled with stuff that I got from him. This was his. He gave it.
Well, I was going to say I didn't know you had that, so I wondered if it was recent. Yeah.
Yeah. And
$100 for the lot. I'll get that's the last offer, mate. $100 for the lot, Palmer.
$100 for the whole container. I'll take the container, Palmer. $100.
I'll trade you this 3D printed bull centaur for all that. Okay.
There you go.
I'm sure Rsty can drive up and send some whiskey your way, mate. You can't get that from out of America, so he'll get you a big carton of whiskey, and Dan can send you some Bretonians. I'll send you some, I don't know, orcs or something like that. You know.
Yeah.
This is derailing into a who can grab what fastest session.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, I don't think I could ever sell a Bretonian.
I don't know how often you guys get, get into situations where you'll pick up some old miniatures, and like sometimes, I guess there's like I think in some ways, this is a whole nother topic, but like within the Old Hammer community, online on Facebook, it's kind of evolved into a system of like absolute transparency in every interaction. So like if you actually are interested in something, you have to do the deal in front of everybody on the page. You can no longer just say PM and like talk to them in private.
Yeah,
like, now you have to just like go, and then like you get it, and then like people that you don't even know that aren't even involved are like getting in and saying things, and it's like and it's like I find it interesting, but like I don't really think there's ethically anything wrong with somebody that really doesn't care about the stuff. Like if like somebody that used to play like 10, 15 years ago and has this stuff, and if like you can get it for a good deal and they're happy with it, but they don't like, but you're not like showing them, like you need to actually like draw a graph, like, and put all your miniatures in the graph and put A through M on one side and 1 through 20 on the other, and like sell them all individually, you know what I mean? And like do all this stuff. But like if I can get a good deal like this, it almost becomes a highlight of my year. Like, to be honest, it's
You're
like,
not wrong. I know.
It's like I get so excited when I can actually get a haul of old miniatures, and in particular for a good price. Because honestly, the price can turn me off completely. Like I can get really discouraged in the price too. You know what I mean? Like if it's just because some of it is just so out there now. It's so collectible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the problem with the Bretonian, especially before Old World came out, and the 5th edition stuff just got crazy. So I was picking that stuff up 10, 15 years ago, even started kind of picking it up on eBay, and you could get it
really cheap.
Get it pretty reasonable, and some of the old questing nights would still come up, and now it's just like somebody just has a torso and the helmet and maybe one arm for one of the questing nights, and it's like $35, and there's no horse, and there's no, I mean, it might even not be one of the rare ones even.
Right.
Then they're like $50 just for that.
Yeah, I just remember right after the collapse of fantasy.
Oh, that would have been.
You could buy miniatures for pennies on a dollar. It's like people are just getting rid of it, and I was I did pick up some stuff to fill out some of my armies, but I just regret not going in and just hauling stuff in.
I wish you could have done that back when they still had the Trolls mail order thing where you could buy the bits,
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, because somebody said even when they quit doing that, they had kind of like, this is the last, order what you want because we're not going to do this anymore. I wasn't on board then, so I don't know if that's true. And you could pick up a whole. No, for the old. But remember when you could buy the bits? You could buy any individual. So you could make back in the 90s. That was the thing, was to make your own standard bearer, and you could pick up the right arm from some guy from the Empire and the helmet.
That's why they had the numbers in the catalog. So
you could buy every single piece off of every single model, and so you could get all that stuff super. It was cheaper if you bought the whole model. But like now in hindsight, like, oh, you could have bought a whole bunch of some of these different parts, and you know, and of course now just the search for some of that stuff was enjoyable back then, because you could still find some good deals, but it's been fewer and further between. So I was pretty happy that I pretty much completed, I think before COVID, I completed my Bretonian collection. So that was just dumb luck timing on that. But
yeah, just before the massive increase of everything.
Yeah, because then everybody got, you know, kind of the resurgence of all this nostalgia. What kind of happened during COVID, and people were digging through their attics trying to turn it into money, and people had time to sit around and look at that stuff. And then the old world came out, so then everybody kind of wanted those things. So it just compounded. And then now you can't even get the new stuff that they released. They can't keep in stock. So.
Yeah, I think like you, Dan, I got my dwarf army just before COVID started, so I went on just a rampage, just trying to sell stuff I didn't want, and turn that money into buying and doing commissions to pay for my dwarf army.
Yep.
Which cost me about $1,000, I think, in total when I got everything. If you look at the price,
that's what it costs, though.
Yeah,
that's what it costs. Yeah, that's what, if you want everything, like I wanted every unit and all that kind of stuff, all the
I'd hate to guess how much I have in my Bretonians, because I just pieced it together over years. But yeah, I'd have a lot.
My Beastmen too.
Yep.
If you compare it now, and it's at least more expensive now.
Oh,
it probably could be about $10,000 to buy that same lot that I've got now. And
I just look every once in a while that you know, my 40 witch elves that I have for my dark elf army. I just look at that, and just every once in a while, do I want some more witch elves? And I look and like, oh my god, they're like $20-$30 a piece now, and I got 40 of them.
Crazy.
You need a sponsor for your channel, mate. Rsty, you need a sponsor, mate. Get one of the whiskey companies to sponsor you.
There you go.
There you go. That's a thought.
Yeah, why not?
The thing sometimes that crosses my mind, though, I just got some of the Diaz Daemonettes. Like I got 20 Diaz
the
Daemonettes.
old ones.
Yeah, and they're not like the original ones, like with the huge crab claws, you know, like, but they're some nice metal ones, earlier ones. But you know, like sometimes when I'm running through my head how I'm going to spend my money, like on the hobby, and you see like a plastic box set come out from GW, and it's of something, you know, and like you're getting like a rule book, or it's a starter set, or it's like you know, you're getting like a number of sprues of miniatures, and it's costing you like any Canadian dollars, anywhere between $150 into some cases $300 now, you know, like for something like this. And then and it's all plastic though. And so, but then when you compare it in your head, even if you think of the old miniatures as being pricey when they're collectible, and they are, but they kind of last forever though. And so to some degree, I feel like when I get a big unit of old models, if I'm spending something similar to what, like some sort of plastic box that's coming out today from GW, that it's still actually a deal. And if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's true.
Again, it's just a better perspective, I guess.
Yeah, that's
how you look at it.
Yeah,
with money, it always is.
Yeah, right.
I got that at this Titanicus starter set, and that's all plastic, and I'm really loving it. I mean, so it's all like based on what you like.
Yeah.
In fact, one of those paint jobs graced the very thumbnail of this live stream, which I'm sure Dan and Rsty are saying, how come our miniatures are not on there? I didn't get a chance to get your guys' stuff on there. Sorry, that'll be the next one. I'm sure we'll do another one next summer.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, we're always around somewhere.
Yeah. When is the next Musty Wargamers show planned then, guys?
Let's see, it'd have to be a Thursday after the fair, so
right.
Be pushing to September, right? Because we did or where are we? I don't even know. You're right.
That's the thing is, We do every other week during the season, but then during the summer we aim for once a month, and
Yeah,
it's
I forgot
not as
this. Yeah,
it's always that Thursday, but we sort of basically, it's a little less scheduled during the summer. We basically just kind of let everybody know on the Facebook page, hey, we're going to do a show on Thursday. It's good, it's one of our summer shows. Unfortunately, August is probably the month that some of us are the busiest, as far as vacation, like that mentioned it, like, Rusty's got the fair, I'm on vacation. And even when we were chatting with you in order to do a show, we were like, let's just kind of do it now, like when we're talking about it, like because coming up to that time where everybody's not available. So the next show, we haven't really chatted about it, but I'm assuming that it's either end of August or beginning or September.
Yeah, we're looking at either August 21st or 28th, one of those two.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think 28th's out for me, but 21st. Yeah.
And who's hosting it this time?
It would be Palmer's turn.
Yeah, Rsty just did it.
Right. Okay, mate. We'll get my beer and burger ordered then ahead of time. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, because my son will be still in holidays then, so it's perfect. Today I can't really eat a burger and drink beer and do this at the same time, unfortunately. So I have to do it when I'm not.
You order your Musty Burger from Krusty Burger?
Yeah, well, it is a nice
Krusty Burger, yeah.
Very Hawaiian style burger. It's
there you go.
You got pineapple on that thing?
No pineapple, mate. No, just it's called Kona Coffee. Now I think Kona Coffee isn't a Hawaiian American brand, isn't it? Kona Coffee.
Yeah,
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, they've got a restaurant here. They're quite popular, so they do very nice burgers actually there.
Nice.
Huh. Cool.
Now, one thing I did notice the other day is that my pineapple I have out in my yard that's in the pot is actually blooming, and I'll be having a pineapple.
Hey,
Wow.
Nice.
She's like, yes, in the cold fridge of Iowa, I grow
Growing
pineapples.
pineapple.
nice, mate.
That's funny.
I always got to laugh because I said in Japan, I really like, because they asked what pizza you like, and I say I really like Hawaiian pizza, and they go, "What's that?" And I say, "Well, it's like ham and pineapple," and they go, really? Like that's kind of strange a concept. And I suppose maybe Italian mothers cry when they hear that someone's eating pineapple and ham on pizza.
Not just Italian mothers.
Yeah,
Canadian bacon. Right.
My Canadian bacon, though, Palmer. Come on now.
Well, that's the thing. Did you guys know that it's actually a Canadian creation?
Yes.
You actually look it up. Yeah, we were chatting about it. I didn't even know that. But the reality is, Josh, when we set out from, I'm in Canada. I'm actually from New York. I'm actually American. Yeah, I'm American, but I've lived here for 20 years. And so I'm Canadian too. I'm a citizen here too. I'm already Canadian. But I'm from Long Island, New York. And we've had this discussion. Tim, unfortunately, I'm outnumbered by far because Tim is the only one in the Musty group that doesn't like pineapple on pizza. So it's usually 2 versus 2.
Yeah,
like
this is nice. Yeah.
Now it's 3 versus 1. But
yes.
But growing up in Long Island, New York, the idea I can eat lots of pizza, and it's not that I can't have Hawaiian pizza. It's just that it's not that sacrilegious where I can't actually like do it at all, like ever. But it's just I would never order it. Like I would never ever order it. It would never be something that I would choose. And that's just because I'm a little bit traditional in that sense, I guess.
I'll put you one further there, Palmer. My favorite pizza
Canadian bacon
is a Hawaiian pizza, but I put sauerkraut on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is the bomb in my case. My wife hates it because she don't like sauerkraut, but you get the sweet and the sour together.
Right.
We got a pizza chain here in Iowa called Happy Joe's, and they will. It's an actual thing on their menu that you get a Hawaiian with sauerkraut on it. It's like, num num num.
Yeah, mushrooms and pineapple. That's my favorite pizza.
Yeah.
Growing up in New York, I do like sauerkraut on hot dogs, but that's something that's what I'm familiar with it with Rsty.
Yeah.
Is on a hot dog.
Well, that's my German heritage. We love our sauerkraut.
I like it on that, just not
Yeah.
I also, the thing is that one of my favorite, we're going to dominate this conversation on pizza now. One of my favorite things that pizzas is actually just a cheese pizza, because I like to taste the crust and the cheese and the sauce, and like I'm kind of a purist in that sense. But I like a meat pizza too. Like I like pepperoni and things like that. But if I really want to taste something and determine whether I like it, I would order just a cheese pizza. Yeah. If I was to put a lot of other stuff on it, then I wouldn't even taste the pizza. You know what I mean? It would just be like, I taste the other stuff. And that's kind of the way I am about it, I guess.
Say my second favorite would be sausage and mushroom. You got lots of mushroom on that.
Yeah, I love mushrooms and pizza.
Yeah, I like mushrooms on pizza too, actually. Yeah, I really like it as well.
Well, it takes all kinds.
That's it.
Yeah.
See, Palmer doesn't like anything. That's his problem.
That's my problem.
He's gotten kind of musty.
He starts at nothing. He likes nothing.
He just likes cheese and bread, okay?
Cheese, bread, and beer.
You are no fun.
But I think the worst one in Japan, what I found out, was like this. I don't know if they have it in the States or Canada or whatever, but they have like goat's cheese pizza with honey on it or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
I've never had
You
that.
get some of the Fongs here in Des Moines and Fongs, and they'll have that where you can get a goat feta cheese pizza.
I like feta cheese on pizza, fine.
Yeah, feta cheese is nice.
Yeah. So you get all kinds of stuff on there.
We're going to order one of those pizzas in a minute, I can tell you now. You got your finger on the dial.
You're gonna trade me a feta cheese pizza for
your goblin Azag the Sword. I'll send you a Japanese cheese and honey pizza for Azag the Sword.
That's right.
Yeah. That'll be fresh.
All right.
You just got a game in, didn't you, Josh? Did you just post a video up?
Was that the with undead and dwarves?
Yeah, we filmed that a while ago, and I've got a couple more to post up. I've actually had quite a few games. I've been really lucky because
that's great.
I had Max up here last Sunday, and we didn't film it. I just did like a post little clip and put it up on the Warhammer Renaissance Facebook group.
Okay, I did. That's what I saw. I just saw that like yesterday or today.
Yeah, man, I've never sworn so much, but in a fun way, not in a horrible way. But Max was just pissing himself laughing. He's never seen so many bad dice rolls ever in a game. Like
that's what you do, though, Josh.
I do that. He just wasn't used to it. I can't believe this. How many ones can you roll? I said, mate, you just haven't watched more. You just haven't seen me in action. This is what I do. This is my thing.
You've always got one more roll, a one up your sleeve somewhere. You can just
anything but a one. And what do I roll?
Choke on a roll. Yeah.
So that was funny. That was a good day. That one. Yeah, that was good.
What was that? Or is it Renaissance? Or what were you playing? I didn't even notice.
Yeah, we play mostly Warhammer Renaissance.
What's the reason for that? I mean, you've kind of hinted at it when as opposed to 4th or 5th edition.
Mainly because, like, when we first started, we played 5th edition, and I sort of, coerced people into say, hey, let's try 5th edition. And they said, oh yeah, I used to play that when I was in elementary school or something like that, when I was like in my 20s. A lot of younger guys were, I said, how about we try that? I said, okay. So a lot of guys had played it, but again, when they were very young, when they were 10 or 12 or something like that. And then they went to 6th edition, 7th edition, 8th edition, what have you. But so at that stage, I had a few guys playing it, and we got to get together regularly and have some games, which is really good. But obviously, there were some glaring things and issues with the rules that maybe other editions had sort of cleaned up and errated way, you know what I mean? So you had sort of, even though obviously there's a lot of beauty behind the books and there's nostalgia tied to 5th edition, there are some little bugbears in there. What are you showing off there, mate? You've assembled all your what's the name? Your cast wolves?
Yeah,
they're there. Yep.
what do you call them? Kadai, Fireborn.
Fireborn. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
But yeah, there's a few bugbears and there's a few sort of things that maybe glaring things that people.
Okay.
We sort of address those with house rules. So we did some house rules for 5th edition. Things like standard bearers could, like your battle standard bearer you could re-roll panic checks. You could re-roll, terror tests, leadership roles for trolls, all that kind of stuff. So we sort of modified things a little to suit our kind of play style in our group.
And the armies that they brought to bear too, probably, yeah.
And we all wanted to play Warhammer, and we all wanted to enjoy it, so we just made some concessions here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I find that's the case with all the old rule sets. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I find that's the case with all the old rule sets. Initially, when approaching them, everybody, well, myself and some other people around me at times, like we all want this to be like a holy grail, like to go back to, but then we all find something. Like you all find something, and you realize it was never perfect, and that everybody always at one point needed to house rule, and that there really is no holy grail, like in that sense.
Yeah,
that's right.
Your nostalgic memory makes it something that it's not. Right?
Although I would say Epic Space Marine is probably the perfect set of rules. I mean, you'll find things that, of course, are missing or just not stated in the book or whatever. But I find that the Epic Space Marine rules, in particular, are a very rock solid set of rules because the rules are very, very small. There's not many rules in it, and I think
it's a simplistic aspect of it.
Very simplistic.
You've not found any balancing issues though, like not one, like where you feel like one army, like or something that is just way too overpowered.
In Epic, you can certainly even though there are rules to mitigate you taking and like min-maxing things. I think like what happened the other day with Max, because he wants to play Epic. He's never played it before. Okay, let's make a list for Epic Titan Legions. I said, okay. And he said, okay, I've got my list. And I said, okay, what's in the list? He said, oh, well, I've got a battle group of Reaver Titans. I've got 3 of those. And I've got, two sets of Warlords. And I've got a set of Warhounds. And I said, how the hell are you doing that? That's crazy. How can you fit all those Titans in? Yeah. And he went through the list, and sure enough, it's all legit. It's all legal.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh my God, how am I going to, come across that? I've only got 1 Titan. You've got like 5 or 6 of them, Yeah. So I'm sure there's like back in the day, if you had the kid with the most pocket money who could spend all the money on the models, probably had some thing where they had like 3 detachments of whirlwinds that obliterate your army with barrages if you played orcs or what have you. You'd always have something where something was going to be askew depending on what the person brought and what you had, and maybe you didn't have things to mitigate certain things they had, and they could exploit your army with certain things they had. So we don't tend to run into those problems now because we all have a very kind of conservative
force.
There's not spamming, like a lot of spamming.
Yeah, no one's going to beat that guy who brings the you know what I mean. Like the list that you don't want to play against. No one's going to bring that because it's not much fun. And
I really enjoyed Epic Armageddon, but in Epic Armageddon, even though I play Space Marine, those Terminators dropping in and firing the same round they drop in. It's you feel bad because it's like I can see it on my opponent's face every time we play. Okay, here they come. It's like I'm just gonna get my butt kicked. But the thing is that's why I kind of felt like every game in my experience, but maybe not that one, but like that you're talking about the earlier Epic. But I find every game has a tendency to have something that isn't perfect if it's an asymmetrical game.
That's right, exactly.
I always found it with when you're playing Epic is that one side could bring a lot of Titans. It's like I faced off against like 6 Warlords before in a game, but if you have something that is able to blast off their void shields, and then the heavy weapons can take them down pretty quickly, it's like, yeah, some super heavy tanks. It's like you got your heavy weapons company out there that hits them with all the their heavy weapons, blow the void shields down, and you got a couple like 3 shadow swords, and like boom, they're toast, nothing flat. You just take them, like 2-3 of them out in a turn, and because you always faced off against stuff like that when we were playing the game pretty quickly. It's like, yeah, it's stuff you learn, but.
But yeah, Rsty makes a good point. I feel that Epic doesn't have anything that's really overpowering. Like with fantasy and 40k, they went extremes with certain characters or graded tens or
Herohammer.
Yeah, you've got that Herohammer element to it. Warhammer Renaissance, when I'm getting back to the point, Warhammer Renaissance kind of toned all that down and said you have to have 50% minimum for units and 25% for war machines and obviously 50% up to 50% on characters still. You could do that. So you've got, I think, a better balance there. With that. I think he's addressed a lot of things within his playing group that, smoothed out the rules, stopped the ambiguity a lot in the rules as well. There's a lot. All the spell cards are 4th edition still, so because basically Warhammer Renaissance is at its core 4th edition Warhammer Fantasy, but it's almost like the 1.5 version of it. So that's how,
not too bad.
You ever have a desire to try Old World? I mean, because the miniatures just interchange, just a different rule set. Any interest or no?
Not really. I think I've got my. I'm so happy with Warhammer Renaissance. I've got people who play it, and there are people in our group who play both. They play Old World and Warhammer Renaissance. So I just don't think I have the time to get involved with another. The rule set.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Got one I enjoy, and it's got.
You've got a good group going, so yeah.
Group playing it, and not to say the other guys are not nice people. I'm sure they're very nice people. I just feel that we've got a good thing going, and we can enjoy both worlds. So guys can enjoy both worlds, and
and it's like you still get that nostalgia hit, but they've improved. It, like you said, took away some of those rules issues that just were sort of broken. In a sense,
Yes, it sort of helped the game in a sense that it filled in gaps where there were just no rules for certain things, and it sort of mitigated other
balance and things.
And spells got a massive amount of work done. Nick did a lot of work on that. The guy, one of my friends here in Japan, he did a lot of spell commentaries in the rulebook, spells and massive amounts of commentary on it. So you can read through those, and it gives you a much clearer idea of how they work and how they operate in the game. And
cool.
Yeah, it's a massive community thing, and I like it because it was like a living rule book. So every year you'd have a new rule book, and update the army lists and tweak them a little bit here and there. There's a lot of feedback from people in the group. But 2025. Warhammer Renaissance edition is the final rules edition. That's it. They're not changing it anymore. Only the compendium, so the armies will change, or the magic items, or points for those, or things like that. May get a tweak here and there.
I remember seeing that. I follow that page pretty close. I'm always really tempted. Obviously, though, I don't have necessarily an opponent or a group. So
the Ninth Age kind of did something similar, right? The Ninth Age. It's just that.
Not so cleared up on Ninth Age, mate. Sorry, I'm thinking that's more of a tournament based thing.
And I do think it is, and I do think it's not trying to at all focus on a particular edition. Like it's not like Warhammer Renaissance is saying we like this edition, like we like this time period, like we're just wanting to kind of improve some things, and and so it is different in that sense, but it is also the same in the sense of a community supporting it going forward. And making changes to suit that community. You know what I mean? Like in that sense. But I agree. It's very tournament, which actually changes the feel very much. Like I play some I play some Old World with some folks that played Ninth Age. And so I definitely kind of know what you mean by like thinking tournament immediately.
It's very rigid and very, Even when you watch the games played on YouTube, it's a tournament game. It's like playing chess more than like fantasy, like GW.
Oh, okay. Okay. See, I haven't looked into it that much.
They clean up all the things and make it very like there's no, because miniature games, especially the time you get into tournaments, you really start arguing about line of sight issues and half inches matter and stuff, and they've made a lot of that so that's not a thing, and they've cut the spells way back to where you can't have because old world has, well, not in the old world but in the previous editions, like Josh, that's the back and forth in 5th edition. I mean, there is a bazillion spells and magic items. I mean, the stack of cards, and they're just like, you could see they just sat around and were drinking and said, "Hey, here's an idea for you. What do you think of that? Write it down. I love it.
Let's use it."
We're using it. Print.
Yeah.
Which is fun, but like not in a tournament setting, obviously.
Joint around, I think, would have been the.
But it's so cool. I love that part. Yeah,
me too.
If you don't take it too seriously, it's cool.
And the funny thing was, Andy Chambers wrote the magic system for 4th edition. That really blew me away. When I looked at the book and thought, oh yeah, Andy Chambers, Bill King, I think Rick Priestley were the part of that development.
Wow. What a group!
Yeah. But that obviously holds a lot of nostalgia for me, because that was the time when I really got into the game. Back to the miniatures and learned how to paint and got to play the actual game. I didn't play 3rd edition, even though that was my first book. It was just too big a thing to get in. I couldn't wrap my head.
Heavy, yeah.
It was way too much. So 4th edition, the rules were not so comprehensive, and they broke it down into the bestiary, the rule book.
Yep.
And then magic wasn't even part of it then, and so it made it a lot more easier to get involved with learning how to play a tabletop war game. My roots hark back to those days, and Warhammer Renaissance kind of feels that,
nice feel of nostalgia.
Yeah, to get the old 4th edition Battle Magic box set out, get all the spells out. Oh, here we go, the Goblin Rider. Nice.
That's an old one, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I got 5 of these in that box that just came behind me. These were just $30. 30. Right here, 40.
Can't do any better than that.
This is the one I really wanted, even though it's newer, because I'm doing I'm doing 10 War Boys, and I needed a champion, because I have the guys with the cavalry spears, and I have the standard bearer, and I have the musician. But I needed a new champion, and I got 2 of these guys. So one's just going to sit in the back. He'll be the first one to be pulled off. And the other one I'm going to kind of paint up as one like this as a champion, because I'm trying to get a unit of 10 of these guys together for my games. But yeah, I got these guys with that group. I thought you'd like that, because it's definitely older style goblin.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, that is.
I have 15 of those, but they're not for sale though, Palmer. You can try to.
I'll give you $100 for them.
And that calculates about $90 for the 15.
Tell you what, Palmer, I'll ride up and take them off your hands for you.
There you go.
And I'll ride home.
Bring the convoy up.
You bring some stuff. Rusty's got a lot of stuff. Bring some stuff to trade.
Yeah,
we can fit in the motorcycle.
That's right.
So only so much can fit in the pannier, so we'll just see.
That's true. And also the metal miniatures, they're heavier. They weigh the bike down more.
And knowing my luck, the Canadian border guards will take it from you.
Well, if they're smart, they will.
Hey, I've been looking for this contraband. They'll take those off your hand.
Well, the thing is that you won't get tariffed on it, though.
Why not?
At least you won't have to get
tariffed. Just slap a tariff on it.
Yeah. Well, if it came to the 51st state, Palmer, you'd be all right, mate.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, I
don't know why you want to.
I had an option. So.
We're kind of playing the field yet, see where things land.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, right now that 51st state is causing us a lot of air quality. So
Yeah, what's going on with that? Like the backburning, are they? Or?
I hear it's a lot of smokestacks from the south that's actually causing the issues.
What, you guys actually manufacture things there? Is that what's going on?
No, well, I mean, there is an industry here of manufacturing, but it's not like we have more than manufacturing in particular than the U.S. or anything like that. It's just
it's mostly paper and wood products. So,
well, you know, like, so there's a lot of forest here, right?
Yeah.
But
Yes.
but there's fires in the U.S. too, right? You know, like there's fires in California. Like people know about it. It's just that there happens to be more forest here, and so so proportionally, there's more fires. You know what I mean? Like just because there's just fires every year.
More stuff to burn. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And so really, that's what it comes down to. I mean, I don't know if we really wanted to get into the subject, but my understanding is that there are people that talk about like people started fires. You know, like they're blaming it on people. Like people are going in there and starting the fires. Like there are people that start fires. There's a percentage of people that do campfires, that drop cigarettes, that do things that start fires, but it's extremely low the amount of arson that happens to create wildfires. Like it's not really the main issue, despite what people might say. It really is. Like I have a property I go to that's wooded, and I like to have a fire there. But like a lot of times of the year, I can't have one because there's like a fire ban, right? And then there's times when you're allowed to have the fire as long as it's in a controlled fire ring and you're doing certain things. You know, it just depends on what you have to do. But the fires are worse every year. And that's why it's becoming more annoying, you know, to other people where the smoke blows. But the fires are also bad in California, right? Like, you know, like we're seeing fires, like more fires now everywhere. It's not that we're only seeing more fires in Canada. It's just that Canada, you know, like it does have a lot of woods. And so, yeah, so it's
just the way the jet stream works, it allows it to come down here. I mean,
that's right now it's coming right over top.
People in Iowa even know that there are fires up there is because, why is it smoky?
Well, you know, the funny thing is like not funny because it's not funny, not funny. But the weird thing is like people losing their homes in California is all over the news, and it's horrible when you see things that happen to people, you know, because of this. And if people are sympathetic, right? Well, there isn't a lot that's shown down there of what's happened to Canadians, like when this happens, like when it's near the Canadians. But then there was like a bunch of governors in the U.S. that sent a formal letter saying, "Please stop your fires because it's ruining our tourism." Like, you know what I mean? Like where like people are not liking it during the summer. And this is like when people are losing their homes and stuff. And then you've got like somebody sending a letter like, you know, don't ruin my weekend. You know. Take care of your stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm thinking, like, what? Are you kidding me? It's like, how selfish and like completely self-centered can you get? Like, you know, like.
Was it last year?
You've been in Canada a while, so you're noticing it now.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's how it is, Palmer.
Not gonna deny it. Not trying to get too political. It's just stupid. I mean, I don't know what side wrote the letter. I thought it was just more from a governor's office, like supporting their state. You know, it just happened, like just in the last month. There was this letter officially sent to Canada from these 4 U.S. Like politicians saying, you know, this is our important time of the year. Like it's summertime. Please keep your smoke down. It's like, okay.
Like, send your fire department and put the fire out.
After midnight, it's time to quiet. Everybody go to bed now.
Yeah.
Put out your fires. It's July 1st. We're done.
I know that was it last year that was at Fort what the heck was it up there north of you, way up there, that burned and they lost a lot of homes up there.
Jasper. I was on a motorcycle ride and I had to divert where I was going because I was riding through that area.
Pictures of that.
Yeah, and it's really bad. Yeah, and that's an example of like where it's really bad and like, you know, people lost their businesses and their homes. And so it's really unfortunate.
I remember back in '76, I think it was, when we were in Minnesota, and a lot of Minnesota burned that year because we had like 2-3 years of drought. and even the peat bogs were burning. You know, it's like you think of a peat fire that they throw over in Scotland, use it for heat.
Right.
And that stuff was cooking. You couldn't put it out.
Like burning coal, yeah.
So the only time that it would go out is when it rained and fill up the swamps again.
So that's an interesting segue. Should there be more forest fires that happen in wooded terrain in gaming?
Well, it was 9th edition that you'd roll when you went into the woods, right? And they would kill some of your dudes and stuff. Remember that?
Yeah.
Dangerous woods or dangerous. You'd take a check. Remember
You said
that?
9th edition?
8th.
8th edition of I didn't play 8th. I didn't play.
Yeah,
I
I
have
didn't
the
either.
book.
But
I
yeah,
have the
there
book
was
right there.
There was the
why right there.
Yeah, it's like right at the top of my finger.
Yeah.
the type of woods that, you know, it could be possessed wood. You know, you ride in there
Right.
and they
Yeah, you had to roll if it was certain kind of woods, and then you'd have an effect. So now it can
And
be
40K had that too. They had that in
Forest
6th
fire.
edition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. And speaking of, just to get back to gaming and less fire. And
We can talk about Hawaiian pizza on top of forest fires. I'm happy to do that.
As far as Games Workshop games that have had a fan base that keeps them alive, War Master is another one of those.
Mhm.
That there's War Master Revolution, which I don't know if any of you guys follow that group, and it's a fan base thing, very much like Renaissance, where they get together each year, discuss balance things, and the rules, and the rules are very. You can actually even you can have it printed out. You have to do it yourself, because they're not selling it. But I mean, it's got artwork and everything. I mean, it's very fancy and is very well supported. A lot of people playing it, particularly in the UK, which is kind of cool to, it's interesting to see, because going into the historical side, my understanding is that rule set is basically what they used like for Hail Caesar, and it was the same kind of, same kind of activation mechanics and command and control and a lot of the same kinds of things like that. But anyway, that's just it's just their Facebook group is extremely active, and they have tournaments, and it's cool to see.
I would say one of the bigger communities that's still around from GW that's an old game is Mordheim still. That's
have they redone like the rules and all that or not?
There has been some work, I believe.
Okay.
I believe, but I'm not sure that I don't know that they spend as much time like trying to like change it. But I do know it
alive.
Well, the other thing is a huge part of it, and I think this might be fair to say about old Hammer too, is that with a lot of the nostalgic games from a long time ago, it seems to always usually start on a foundation of hobbying, like as compared to tournament style games and like games that the game where the game is primary, like the nostalgia and the older stuff. It seems to start with that. Like if you look at the Mordheim group, they make like entire cities, like of the Mordheim style, and there's so much kit bashing and characters, like not even using like the official GW characters, but making their own ones, and
as they progress, as they change their gear, and I've seen them even more. They've got injuries and they've modeled. I mean, you can just go to town with it.
Yeah, and so I feel as if, although the game is also really important to them, that it seems to be really heavily hobby-centric.
Yeah, well, and it's a true storytelling game, really. I think that's, and if you're into that, and character building, because you can run a campaign with your guys, and
I can see why Frostgrave became a thing. When you look at Mordheim, I think that's almost like a slightly dumbed down version of it because it's a lot easier to play.
Well, guys, we're going over 2 hours. I don't know how long you guys wanted to continue streaming for. or if you wanted to head off, or what your plans were. So I'll give you the
Typically,
option.
typically I'm usually off by now, but because it's your show, I wasn't really putting a hard cap on it for me tonight, just because I was not doing our normal.
You don't get to hang out with Josh that often.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm ready to shut down pretty soon.
Yeah, I think I might have to end the stream soon, guys. I
Yep.
apologize. I'd like to keep talking.
That's good.
It means that we need to bring you back on again. You know?
Yeah, we'll just have to.
No,
do
that's
it
great,
once in a
actually.
while. Or we can have Josh on ours, can't we? Or not?
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course we can.
Easily.
Easy.
Yeah. Well,
That sounded like a kid. Can they come over to play?
can you,
Like we can do that. Can't they come over to play? Like he could come over to play.
Yeah, I can drink then. I can drink on that one because I'm not hosting it.
well, that'd be perfect then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll bring Musty drink. And free burger too. You get to see me eat live.
Oh, that'd be
Oh,
ideal.
Isn't
The
it?
musty crusty burger.
Musty crusty
Or
burger.
All right. So, what did everybody work on tonight?
Everybody knows what I worked on.
Little dudes.
Little dudes. Yeah.
Well, this was harder than what it sounds like, but I was taking these guys and pinning and crazy gluing the spears on these guys. You know,
Oh, yeah.
Halberd.
Yeah. And actually, I was ashamed to say it, but like, even though this is metal, I can't remember the last time something just snapped as if it was plastic or resin. That's metal. But this, when I was trying to actually hold this to get this to stay on, the spear snapped in half,
Oh.
and it's metal.
Is it lead or is it pewter?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Must be more
And
pewter because the lead.
It's very
changes.
odd.
Yeah.
And so I've actually pinned the inside of this shaft and green stuffed
Wow.
this while we were on the show. And I was actually quite disturbed by this because, yeah, I don't like seeing these things break. And so I did that. And then once that happened, I've mainly been just putting together these metal miniatures. And now I'm actually just putting some putty on the bottom of these bores, just getting ready for this painting project. It's all the pre-work that needs to be done prior to the project, as you guys know.
Yep. Yeah, that's basically. I just cleaned up almost another regiment and a half of 50 millimeter Confederate infantry advancing, and then I got my 2 bases of horse holders glued down under their fender washers, so then I can get the sand around them, and I'll base them up, and they'll be done. And yeah, little dudes. I do like the little guys. They're kind of fun.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
I got 2 packs of the horse holders spot right behind me that got to be put together. And I have, I think, 3 packs of cavalry, Confederate cavalry that's got to be worked on.
Mm-hmm.
And I got 1 pack of Union cavalry.
Yeah, cool.
Nice.
Now, are you guys planning to do a game together then, Dan and?
Eventually,
Yeah. We're definitely hoping to. I actually thought maybe this summer, but with my painting kind of slowing up just these 3 months kind of during the summer while I do my other hobby. But and summers, I don't know, who am I kidding? That I'm just busy in the summer making hay and just stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, it might be sometime around Christmas we might be able to get a game.
Yeah, I would say after harvest, then we're definitely going to be able to get together. And yeah, by then I'll have, we can easily get together what I've got painted up.
And part of the stuff I got here is Jesse, who's in our chat room. He bought, like 7 packs of stuff for it, of Confederate stuff.
Wow.
So I'm going to be painting his Confederates for him.
Okay.
So that's going to be a lot of work to do, but he's going to give me something for it. A lot of times he gives me piles of miniatures that I can do.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Yeah.
What'd you work on, Josh?
I'm just putting together another commission for Jesse, mate, in Australia. This is all the Blood Angels. This is the last of his Blood Angel commission. These are the assault troops, the assault marines.
Nice.
Okay.
Sweet.
New ones?
Just
or those the old school ones?
The old school ones, mate. Yeah, second edition. Yeah, so the metal jump packs and all the
Cool.
anglery. So yeah, just putting those together, pinning everything, pinning all the arms, and pinning the backpacks because with all these kind of models, they all come off and snap off. So
I got a whole bunch of Rogue Trader jump troops and stuff that are actually made of lead from back in the day.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, actual lead.
How much you take for those, Josh? How much?
What, for these?
Yeah.
No, the Rogue Trader.
They're not mine. They're not mine. They're Zane's, mate. They're Zane. He'll have to come and hunt you down with the.
No, Rusty's. Rusty's just said he had some Rogue Trader ones.
Rogue Trader ones. Oh, they're not worth $20.
Yeah,
That seems fair.
Per
Talk him
model?
up.
He's never coming back again. I don't think, Rusty. Now I think I've insulted. Rusty, you keep those, mate. You keep those, mate, and paint them, mate, please.
Yeah, they're my
his?
Ultramarines. It's my old Ultramarine army.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. I'd really like your studio video you did with the cabinets and everything. I really like that. I think we should see more of those. More studio.
I had another cabinet or two. I could put more stuff on display. I got a bunch of armies that never even seen the light of day.
Oh, you got boxes of miniatures all tucked away. Yeah.
No.
Well, if I can make a request, please, mate. Rusty, can you please do an epic presentation or review on your videos showing all your epic armies?
I think the only one I've done is the orcs.
Didn't you have Chaos as well? Or was that your friends playing Chaos back in the day?
Let's see. Sometimes it was, it might have been my Chaos army. He had his Chaos army that he was playing.
Yeah.
So when we were posting all those videos, I think every time I played, I was pulling out a different army to play.
Right. Well, I'd love to see it regardless, man. I know you got a whole stack of boxes. I know one of the streams you did, you showed like a whole stack of boxes there.
Yeah, you look at the wall. See all those boxes on the far wall? That's all full of miniature stuff.
Oh, well, we'll have to do a video on that one. That'd be great.
Yeah, Rusty's place is a treasure trove museum, all wrapped into one.
And he's got
I have a bad habit. I buy stuff, paint it, or just stick it in a box. And
you've been doing this for decades. That's the beauty of it.
30-something years, 35 years of Warhammer stuff sitting on the shelves right there.
Yeah.
So the dream is to have a game with Rusty playing Epic Space Marine with sauerkraut pizza and a glass of Dewar's whiskey. How's that sound?
Well, I could easily put that together.
Okay, that's good. All right, we'll do that. I'll bring my Chaos over, mate, then, if that's the case.
Oh, I got a lot of Chaos, so it's like...
Yeah, good, mate. Sounds good. Well, thanks again, Rusty, for coming on. And again, go and check out the links in the show notes for Rusty's channel. And Farmer Dan Bierman, it's really good to see you too, mate. And I'm glad that you and the family are doing really well and the farm's still going and you're making hay, you're fixing tractors, you're painting Bretonians and assembling tons and tons of MDF terrain, mate. I really like those terrain videos you did for your bolt action. They look really good, actually. No bullshit. They look really good. You know, I like
thanks.
As a person that's seen it in person, it is forcing other individuals that play games to up their game table.
That's it. Yeah, no, they look really nice. It's amazing what you've done with a bit of MDF there, mate. Honestly, it looks really good.
Yeah, thanks.
And Palmer, you've always been a good inspiration, mate, with your videos. Keep them coming with all your hobby projects and stuff like that, mate. I really like your Beastman army, especially.
Thank you.
Classic, Bob Ollie Beastman you've got in those.
Yeah.
I'm looking at those. And, of course, the Musty Wargamers War Game Show, the live stream. I really love those, and I think people should go and... I always say to people, you should go and check them out. So this is your chance. Now you met the guys, minus Tim, of course. Check out their show end of August. So we'll have to get notified with that and post it somewhere. I'll leave your Facebook group link in the show notes too, so they can go there, and then, they can access your sites. It's mainly Palmer's sites and Rusty that have the stream. They're hosting the streams, basically, alternating from fortnight to fortnight.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, guys. But thanks again for your time. You've done a record of 2 hours and 30 minutes. So there you go. It's a Musty record.
It's a Musty record.
Congratulations. All right, and have a good summer holiday. And I'll catch you again at some point in the future. Take care.
Absolutely. Thanks very
See you
much.
in the chat room somewhere.
Yeah, and thanks to everybody in the chat. I'm sorry I didn't go through those. We've just been talking away here and doing some hobby. But thanks to Walkabout Games and Dwarven Mustache Hobbying. I can't believe Tom's up at that time, but I've probably gone to bed by now. He's over in the UK. Daka Flacka Flame, thanks, mate. Blue Thing, and Chief Indian, and Wolfgang Messerschmidt. So thanks very much, guys, for being part of the chat today. All right, guys, take care. See you next time.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you.